explore. to answer a question from chat. That was Tenebroso Sangue off the Ultra Kill soundtrack, which is a boomer ass shooter. A genre I am the target of. Exactly. Let's go for a walk, shall we? You guys doing this fine evening. I got a lot of people to thank on this one, which I appreciate. Let me get to it. We have Kahi, resubscribed to tier 1 for 22 months, says huge, thanks a lot. Obi Watts bought a big hat and a big shirt. Let's go. The system works. I appreciate it. Angry Dad, thanks for the big primer for 29 months. Hey, what big is their comment? Great comment. Some Norwegian dude has gifted a tier 1 sub to the Adventuring Duo for 4 months. Appreciate it. Warbear, thanks for the tier 1 Core 6F6, which sounds like a color in Photoshop. But anyway, appreciate it for 6 months. Gifted a sub to Alex Albert. Warbear227, thanks for the 500 bits. Appreciate it. Michael Jordan Pegasus has gifted a sub to Captain Risei. Oh. Might be Rise. It might be Rise, but I'm going to pretend that it's Risei Kujikawa. Anyway. Zuju Busta, thanks for the 10 BPP. Because of the 2 grips of 5 gift subs to the Twitch chat. Appreciate it. So that you guys don't have to watch ads, because watching ads sucks. Warbear thanks for gifting a sub to Trelve for 3 months, and Pesky Zest. Thanks for the tier 1. Appreciate it. And Rutmar Rob thanks for the tier 2 for 37 months. Damn, what a big tier. In a row, perfect streak, tier 2. You might not like it, but this is peak male performance. Anyway, appreciate it. Rutmar Rob. And let me now get to... Oh, we got a hype train, apparently. Hey. Any all aboard? Any train enjoyers in the chat? Sure there are. Stat-based games target a certain mentality, shall we say. Anyway, good work. And thanks for all the generosity and donations. Warbear. Warbear, thanks for the beats. Appreciate it for 250. Is that train or terrain? It is train. Train. I'm from Wisconsin. And so I say the 2 words pretty interchangeably. Train or terrain. Same with whore and horror. City Buster, thanks for the 5 big BPP. Appreciate it. Thanks for the giftos. TYVM. Just throwing it out. Like candy at a parade. Please enjoy not watching ads, because imagine. 69 viewers? Okay, nobody new join. Actually, wait, I still technically need joiners. But oh, you had to complete the tier 4? Yeah, level 5 hype train. Wow. Let me read some of the very early messages during the opening, and then we'll get all caught up. All right? Please be patient. Can't wait for the forest walk. Hey, here it is. We keep the energy levels extremely high on this stream, as you have no doubt come to notice. High energy streamer. You must go faster, that one guy insists. Yeah, he did insist it. Look, there's streams for all sorts of people. I joke about high energy, but you know, there are some streams that are very high energy and some streams that are low energy, and I am the latter. That's why the intros have to be bombastic. So there's some sort of entertainment, you know, and hype, and then it gets to me and I'm like, hey, how you guys doing? Let's go on a walk. HeyWoah is a known hater of battle tactics. True. Yeah, I don't like them. Just about not their idea nor implementation. I think it's both. But you could do them in a way that's cool, I think. I just don't know if they were even close to that in third. I don't know what they're doing exactly with these articles. Haven't read them. It's a reaction stream. But we'll get to it. Thank God HeyWoah is live today. I really need somebody to tell me what to think about the game I don't play. This is 100% serious and not at all sarcastic. You are actually stoked for this. Yeah, I know. I find myself watching content creators sometimes that are telling me about something I don't even, like a game I don't even play. But it's like interesting anyway. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you were being sarcastic and this is just a double-double. But how is this bad news? It's clickbait. But I don't really like battle tactics, so I was hoping they would be gone completely. I mean, we knew they were staying around for a little while now, but leading up to 4th, I'm like, please just delete the entire concept of battle tactics. Delete, and if you have to replace it with something, have it be nothing like them at all. So I have a little bit of sadness that they're sticking around in any form at all, but everything we've seen so far for 4th edition has been mostly great. So maybe they've done something and now they're fixed and I'm not mad anymore. Like, we'll see. I'm not going to say my hopes are up exactly, but I'm fairly used to reading stuff for 4th edition that Matt Rose has worked on and being like, yeah, that's pretty good. So maybe that will be what this is, you know? Anyhow. How soon before we get book tactics? Hopefully never. The idea of battle tactics for each army isn't a bad idea. It's just something that Games Workshop clearly cannot handle. And I mean not even close. They can't see the horizon of being able to handle the balance of battle tactics per army, apparently. Maybe they can with Matt Rose at the helm or something, but we'll see. They were just awful. Mostly because the battle tactics were put into 2 camps, right? They were so easy it was automatic, and then virtually impossible. And there was a little bit of stuff in between, like you have to buy this model, and if you buy that model, then you can, you know, somebody has to do a backflip as long as you're playing this model or something like that. But in general, I didn't like that system. It was so powerful that it took over the entire, it subsumed the rest of the whole game, basically. You could look at how easy your battle tactics were to accomplish and pretty close to draw out how the win percents went for every army in the game. It would make a pretty similar graph. Such was their power. You would get the worst army in the whole game. They gave them 2 free battle tactics, and they were one of the top 5 suddenly, probably 5th. And then they started to trickle down. But the point was that every battle tactic you gave an army for free, their win rate would jump by like 10%. It was crazy. Now that's a strong knob to turn for balance, but it's way too strong of a knob. They kind of overshadowed stuff. And then the way that events were run, such that tiebreakers were the number of battle tactics you completed, it not only overshadowed kind of the game, it was like, oh, you didn't get all 5 battle tactics round 1 of a tournament, you actually just lost the tournament. And that's sidestepping the whole idea of should how hard you win matter? And the answer to that is obviously no. You know, you're in a chess match. What does it matter how many pawns you sacrificed? You should just win the game. And then when you're allowed the freedom to just win the game, you have all these interesting ways to play pop up, you know. Ooh, what if I do this? What if I do that? There's all sorts of creativity that can arise. But if you're going to put the guardrails on that heavily, then they kind of force you to play bumper bowling in a way. Alex B. These are the 10 HeyWoah gift memberships on YouTube. I appreciate it a lot. TY, thanks for the big gifter. Whole bunch of people just got hit. Thanks a lot for being on the YouTube side. If this is really as bad as 4th edition gets, we're going to be in great shape. I think we're going to be in great shape generally regardless. Just because almost everything I've read so far for 4th has been not only great, but a clear and direct improvement from previous editions. And so if everything else is better, and let's pretend battle tactics are the same. They're probably not, but let's pretend they're just as bad, or maybe even a little worse. If everything else is better, you're still averaging higher, right? Kind of depends. We'll see. Battle tactics were a pre-game script to follow that made the games feel samey. Thief the Thief, yes. I've described them in very similar words before. That's one of my big problems with them besides. Is that it was the battle tactic game. Almost no matter who I play against or what battle plan. Round 1, I move to the corners. Round 2, I get out of my deployment zone. Round 3, I charge in various ways so that this battle tactic is succeeded. Round 4, I retreat with everyone. Round 5, everyone's in combat. Like they kind of made every game feel the same. And I didn't much care for that either. Like playing Age of Sigmar in 3rd edition got kind of boring after a while because every game just felt the same. You had to do a backflip on turn 1 and a front flip on turn 2 and a cartwheel on turn 3. And it just sort of, I don't know, didn't like it, didn't much care for it. You don't like secondaries in 40k as well because having 3 units do nothing and click buttons on board edges is not flavorful at all when you're supposed to be ripping you apart. I mean, you could describe it in a way that's flavorful. I just don't think it's particularly fun to do them. And you have to build towards them. You have to build your army towards them. I don't know. You could paint with a wide brush and be like, well, standing on objectives is kind of like battle tactics as well, you know? And I would, in that most zoomed out way, I guess I could agree. But it's so simplified that it's kind of like, what is anything, you know? I would like, in the perfect world to me, I would like to take the good ideas of battle tactics and put them into battle plans instead. I think that's where the space could be used, is put them in battle plans instead. As a chess enjoyer, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's kind of how I feel about the whole tournament, tournament tiebreakers and rating points and stuff like that. I don't think it should matter whatsoever how you won or how much you won by. It should just be a yes or no question or a tie. Because in general, I don't think you want players to have control over their own tiebreakers, essentially. If you're rewarded for destroying your opponents, then you're kind of rewarding the most unbalanced matchups possible, right? I like strength to schedule, but that's just me. One could argue having a system that rewards you for how many pawns you take would also encourage interesting play because people would scrape points. I mean, it would create a metagame, you know. Any rules change you make is going to cause some things to be more important and some things to be less important. For a while, it's probably a challenge to solve or an interesting puzzle to fix. And it's going to inform one way or another whatever metagame arises from it. It's up to you to determine whether you think that metagame is more or less fun, right? Or more or less interesting. Or more or less good to watch. You really didn't like the implementation, but you're not totally against the system. Yeah, the system isn't the worst idea. Have secondary stuff to do, right? Okay. Very few ideas are like just bad, right? A lot of it's going to have to do with implementation. Hey dude, long time watcher and enjoyer of your content, finally starting to actually put an army together for 4th edition. Was wondering if you plan on making more faction focus vids. I've thought about it. I've become more busy with my day job. And so, past year and a half probably. And so I can't put 100 hours, 80 hours, 75 hours into gigantic faction-focused videos that are well-liked. People like them. A lot of people watch them. A lot of people find them useful. I can do every army once per edition, you know? Quit your day job and be a degenerate full-time. Well, first of all, I'm already a degenerate full-time. I work from home. Secondly, hey, I wish. I'm working on it. You know, streaming, you can always blow up or go viral or something, but the low energy kind, maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, I would like to in the future. Maybe I'll be able to. You may not be painting miniatures and listening, but you are painting all the walls in your mother-in-law's house and listening. Hey, don't worry about it. Luke is unlocked. Appreciate the listening regardless. Are there any armies you think will be most interesting to play as or against in 4th edition? I don't think I know enough to say that yet. It's a good question, but I mean, we haven't seen the indexes for what all the armies are even going to do. We don't know all the 4th edition rules. A lot of reading and reacting to 4th edition stuff is like, I'm being the most hesitant I can possibly be about giving out a take for them, because we just don't know how all the gears are going to interlock, right? We're given little out of context snippets of rules. And so, you know, on paper with what information we have available, they can seem good or seem not good, but that's about all we can do before we see the whole picture. And even then, after we see the whole picture of the whole rules. Who knows what the indexes are going to do? It's hard to say. Random draw secondaries in 40k right now have been really fun. You think it keeps you on your toes? You can't just do the same thing every time. That's what... There was... One of the rumors was that that's how it's going to work in AOS, I'm told. Ahem. I don't know if that's true, but... One of the things that I heard was that in AOS, the battle tactics are going to be... They're going to do the 40k thing with the cards. Again, don't know if that's true. Maybe that's in this article. But we got to buy more shirts. He needs to become full-time content creator. No, I just need to grow my audience. That's on me. The problem isn't that I'm not monetizing my current audience hard enough. The problem is I need to grow my audience to be larger. And then that's me. You know, that's my problem, not yours. You guys are gifting subs and stuff and buying a hat every once in a while. You're good. I appreciate it. Whatever happens, you still play ogres. Basically same. Unless the army is shit-canned or something. And then I wouldn't. Yeah, monetize us harder, daddy. No. I will not. A lot of inflation going on, actually. Someone deserves to go big, it's HeyWoah for sure. Hey, I agree with you. But anyway, so Clueless, thanks for the tier 1. Landed on Meat Con Carne. Damn. Meat Con Meat? Anyway, good name, and thanks to the gifter. Steely, thanks for $10 on YouTube. And before I read your message, I'm going to click like, because you gave me $10, and so I click like for that. Do you think that having such major changes for 4th Ed will render a lot of player-created content a lot less useful and maybe make it confusing for new players? Yes and no, respectively. Tons of player-created content, tutorials, tips, battle reports, why play Gloomspite Gits or whatever. You know, a lot of that stuff is going to become even more out of date and possibly not even applicable. So for sure, yes, on the first half of the question. Make it confusing for new players? No, I don't think so. I mean, it depends. How stupid is this new player? I don't know. That's not fair. But it's just like, I think that in general, players are, even new players, they're not new to the world. They weren't born yesterday. They're just new to this game. And so if I'm looking up, ooh, I want a Diablo something, like I'm gonna type the patch in, right? The fact that there's a Diablo 1, 2, 3, and 4, I don't know that fact is confusing. If you're playing Diablo 4, you're gonna search for Diablo 4. If you're searching for a patch, you know, if you're searching for patch 1.24 or 2.24 for Diablo 2, you're not going to click on patch 1.16 because it's going to be out of date. And if people can handle that, I think they can handle looking up the current edition of Age of Sigmar information, I would hope. Sometimes I think that the mythical new player that people are concerned about confusing is like the mythical undecided voter, where there isn't really like necessarily an undecided voter standing around who's just like, gee willikers, I just can't decide between Biden and Trump, right? I just don't know. I don't know, but I'm really going to vote for somebody. I just have no idea who right now. Could exactly 50-50. Generally, you have a giant pool of voters who it's questionable whether or not they will be motivated enough to vote. And that's, to me, I think that's more the demographic. And then there's an even bigger one that essentially don't care. Either because they literally don't care or they feel disenfranchised for some way. And so I think the new player thing, I don't know, I think that like you're smuggling something along with that. I don't mean you, but just the rhetoric around it. You play the game 3 times and you basically have all the mechanics down. It's fine, you know. It's not like it's not the most terrifically complicated game in 3rd or 4th. Even HeyWoah's 2nd Ed faction focuses are still useful just as an idea on how the army in general and how they may skew in different directions. It's like a historical thing. This is what the army did in 2nd, this is what it did in 3rd, and this is what it's going to do in 4th. Maybe you can do some predictive stuff or what direction they're moving in. I suppose you could do that. I tend not to watch my old content because I experience extreme secondhand embarrassment from it, and the sound quality's terrible. But thanks for liking my stuff. You're gonna gift a sub to Matara Khan, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Bug Mom, Whiskey Lima. I mean, do what must be done if you have to. I don't think I have a sub to her right now, so I probably should. If I'm trying to get on that bricky money, if I'm trying to get on the bricky train, dude, one day the girls, they'll find out about Age of Sigmar, then it'll be my time. It'll be for me. Oh Lord, I've seen what you've done for Bricky and I want that for me. Anyway, good meme. I'd like to see a HeyWoah Pancreas No Work collab. People have said that a few times. I don't watch really a lot of Warhammer content, if I'm honest. I got a lot of other stuff on the second monitor. But I don't know. People seem to like that guy. Don't take foreign language courses if you don't want to know how on the nose GW's names for things are. Oh, for sure, yeah. You are the vampire count Sanguine von Blut. Isn't that, is that basically like Blood the Blood or Red the Blood or something? I don't know. Yeah, their naming schemes are silly. They're silly on purpose. Nick Garcia thanks for $5 on YouTube. Come to Old Town Throwdown in Southern California in August. I probably won't. That's a long way away. That's a plane flight away. I would like to go to more AOS events, but plane flights are expensive and I never go outside. I mean, no promises that I won't, but I appreciate it. It would be nice. If I could teleport, I probably would. Pancreas No Work is a Pippa fan? A Pippa fan. Oh, well, he's got good taste in VTubers, I guess. That's a point for. Come to Bug Eater in Omaha or Guts and Glory in Springfield. I think there's an event in like 2 weeks that I was trying to go to, but I couldn't get on the waiting list for it back when I tried. It's like super close. You've seen me reference Guilty Gear before, just wondering who you play. Gold Dick Lewison. Behemoth Typhoons are hilarious and weird. Playing him is goofy in a fun way. And his character design is really awesome. He's fucking hilarious. That was a tough one though, because as you know, it might seem obvious, right? I have a hat that says big. I play ogres. You know, oh gee, what is this guy gonna play in Guilty Gear? Probably, you know, Gold Lewis, right? But my rule in general is, as I said in the video, you either make the biggest, sweetest thing or the cutest thing. There's a hell of a lot of cute in Guilty Gear. But I couldn't say no to the big man. He's fucking hilarious. I don't play a lot though. I don't have time to practice or really play that much. I just like it. And if I had more time, I would play more. Not Potemkin though. He's just as big. Potemkin's awesome too. Had I started playing the game before the DLC for Lewis came out, I would maybe consider Potemkin because he's so cool. But I got into it at that DLC. Ramlethal. Lionel Johnson is your all-time favorite GW name? I think mine is, as far as the stupidest one, Ferris Manus. Which is literally just iron hands. That's what it means. And he has an iron hand. And he leads the Iron Hands. It's so stupid. In kind of a good way. But it is so stupid. Did you watch the NFL draft last night? No. I'm not a sports guy. Don't like sports. Not interested. And I keep telling Twitter that I'm not interested in sports, but they have a contract with the NFL and every other sports to force you to see it no matter what the user's preferences are. You can click not interested as much as you want. I don't think the button actually does anything. And so I started banning sports-related advertisements. I have like 300 banned Twitter users that are all just like Sports Center, NFL, NHL, soccer. I have like 300 of them banned. And it's getting to the point where I'm starting to get foreign language sports. I'm like, no, still no, thanks, good try. Nearest anyone plays AOS is an hour-and-a-half drive, but you're gonna bite the bullet. You're an Ogre player and play Bridget and Elfet. Oh, nice. Nice one. Yeah, playing in real life is a good time. TTS is very convenient, but there's no replacement for the real thing. What's the bad news? It's mostly clickbait. I don't like battle tactics, and they still exist in the game. So anything I read about them is bad news, although I'm sure they will have improved from third. So I'm mostly interested in figuring out how they have improved. Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, or whatever that abomination of a rogue trader name was. Oh, I don't know that one. I'm not aware of that one. It's not a land raider because it raids on the land. What are you, stupid? It's named after Jimmy Land. He's a land stander. Stands on land. Oh, it's a first edition stuff. Okay, yeah. Big man HeyWoah could play football? Nah. I played baseball in high school. I was more of a baseball player, skateboarder, snowboarder kind of guy until I broke my back. Then I became big. It's a tragic tale. Tale as old as time. Not paralyzed or anything. It just fucked me up. Used to spend time outside. Yeah, I spent enough time outside, to me, for a lifetime. And I'm done with it. I did the outside thing. Now I do my thing. What's it like? A bunch of camping, mostly. Forest stuff. Cutting trees down, splitting wood. Going, like, to snowboard hills and skiing and stuff. State parks, things like that. Morel mushroom finding, deer hunting. Can't help it. My class is wizard, you know? I chose wizard at character creation, but my dad's class is ranger. Probably level 11 or 12. And so I inherited a whole bunch of that kind of knowledge growing up. It'll be good in the apocalypse, right? What if they added the tactic, finish 6 beers before the match is over? Would you like that one? That's just playing Warhammer in Wisconsin. Might as well be written in the tournament pack. Ultramarines are from the planet Ultramar, and you have your own Legion super soldier from the planet Supersoldia. Also, the original color for them was the color Ultramarine, which is a color. Splitting wood, dude. Splitting wood with you get yourself a splitting maul. It's a I don't know. It's kind of a Zen operation. I found it very satisfying. Mexican's version of this is I used to play soccer a lot, yeah, and now I watch DBZ. TDS is sometimes the only way you could play AOS. Very thankful for it. Yeah, for sure. Same. Big same. Have you played many or any CCGs besides Magic? No. I looked into a few of the popular ones here and there, but it's like dipping your toe into a pool of magma. I recoiled like a vampire, shown garlic. All the ones that I looked at seemed to be essentially pale copies of Magic with just lesser rules. Whole system ran worse and terrifically worse art for the most part. Every once in a while there was one that was okay. One of my old college roommates bought a whole bunch of Legend of the Five Rings. A long time ago, World of Warcraft had a card game. I think that Brian Kibler worked on, I want to say. Before this is like way before Hearthstone. It was a physical card game. And that game was actually kind of interesting. I rather liked it. Had some cool stuff. But they killed it, and then way later they made Hearthstone. Which was a step down. Yeah, WoW TCG was decent. I rather enjoyed it. So, I've maybe dabbled, we'll say, in a few others, but for the most part, everything is just like way worse than Magic, so it's not worth. Plus, I'm pretty bought in. I've chosen my horse already. Your bro and you tried the Star Wars one a long time ago, but it was way too much of a money sink, and it was incredibly hard to get good cards. Okay. I've heard of the Star Wars one, haven't looked into it. Woodcutting good for getting yoked. Join us in the Digimon TCG. It's bad, but we love it. HeyWoah, you've seen it, says Nezermore. Force of Will, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Cardfight Vanguard, Weiss, Schwartz. Only problem with WoW TCG was the decks being blind buy and needing to get two of the same deck to make a deck that functions. I'm used to just buying singles, and so that's kind of what I did back then. I thought the raids were cool. The idea of, here's an overpowered raid deck and it's Ragnaros. And then, like, 2 or 3 people fight against it. I thought that was a cool idea. Persona music is too comfy. Hey, don't worry about it. Bring back Magic the Gathering Arch Enemy. Yeah, Arch Enemy was the undercooked and it never quite caught on version of that. Yeah. If you had to choose one, would you recommend going to LVO or Adepticon next year for AOS specifically? That depends on how competitive you are. If what you like the most about Age of Sigmar is to compete and to get better and improve, if you have that kind of attitude, then LVO is the thing to go to, because it is the more competitive tournament for AOS, and the whole LVO thing is kind of seems how do I put this, the feeling in the air around the tournament is kind of like that. If you're more on the, I want to go to a 5-round, 6-round tournament and just kind of have a winning record, and then walk around and experience the community, and here's all this painting, I want to sign up for a painting class and play Commander and that kind of thing, then go for Adepticon. To me, my choice is Adepticon every year. I went to LVO once, but my problem is I like Las Vegas too much. And so if I go to Las Vegas for any reason, I'm generally going to want to hang out in Las Vegas rather than whatever the fuck the reason is that I'm going ostensibly for. And so that's essentially my problem with LVO. I went once, it was fun, but I spent most of the time just in Vegas having fun. And that's expensive. So I choose Adepticon instead. You have one rule for tournaments, there must be beer. It's essentially the rule for all Midwestern tournaments as far as I've seen. Most of them have a bar on the premises. I don't really drink anymore because I got that under control. I'll have a dark beer and a steak when I go out to eat with people once every few months or so at my leisure. But I'm not really a drink a lot person. I'm a drink a beer. Only when I go out with people or something. Generally a stout or a porter. I like the dark beers. Don't like the hoppy ones. Don't like the clear ones. Have you ever been to Evo? No, I haven't. Luke is unlocked. I'm like a fan of watching fighting games. I think they're very entertaining. I like the commentary. I like the ins and outs of the games. But I don't play them to any serious level or even remotely serious level. And so me physically going there, I'll just watch it. Ahem. The walk background is now just entered a Left 4 Dead. Yeah. Ever thought about Warhammer Underworlds? Nah. I don't mean to be dismissive of it because people like it. Same with Warcry and Blood Bowl and all the other like side games. I'm just not looking for another game. I don't have time for another game. I have time for 2000 point Age of Sigmar, Commander every once in a while with the old team or something, and then whatever video game I happen to be playing. I don't really have time for any other stuff. So I haven't really looked into it at all. Do you name your ogres individually? Yes. But their names change all the time, and so I have to remember by writing them down somewhere. And so I can't just rattle them off. You know that the artistic Huskguard on Thundertusk in my army, the one who does all their tattoos and paints their legends in the tapestries that act kind of as sails on the back of their stuff in the lore for my dudes. He is Humongous Rembrandt. That's his name. He's only ever heard of one artist, and it's Rembrandt, and he's huge, so he has named himself Humongous Rembrandt. Humongous is also spelled wrong. You had fun with Underworlds, but most people around you would just rather play AOS. Yeah, and I can't blame them because it's essentially how I feel. I'd rather play AOS. If I'm going to do something with models somewhere, I'm just going to play AOS instead. Those two would be fighting against each other. Same thing with Warcry. I think the games are probably good. I don't know anything about them. Humongous Rembrandt? Yeah, if you have premium, you get to choose your color with a hex code or something. I've heard of that on Twitch. Yeah. Warcry best game GW makes, no cap. I gotta take that with a grain of salt. Because last time a bunch of people said that, it was about Blood Bowl. And then I looked at Blood Bowl and I'm like, alright. Okay. Now, this is probably as a non-liker of sports, it's like clearly not targeted for me. But you couldn't find someone who was primed to not like Blood Bowl probably more than me in the whole world. Because I don't like football. I think the humor of Blood Bowl is not funny. It is in fact stupid. I think all the models are bad and stupid. And they come with that silliness that I don't like. They're not made of plastic. I don't like what the game looks like or plays like. And it's rolling a whole bunch of dice to see while random stuff happens. And you play it in leagues and such. There's just like nothing about it that appeals to me at all. And so I'm the anti-target audience for Blood Bowl in like every way. All of these opinions. I mean, they are though, right? Things are gonna hit you or they're not gonna hit you. But it has gnomes now. Okay, so it's even worse. Yeah, alright. I'm not the one who's supposed to like it. The people who are interested in it are supposed to like it. You're still thinking about getting a secondary army to start. You're part of a league, and we paint a certain amount of points every other month and play with it until we hit 1K. Oh, okay. Now is a strange time to get in. I'm probably going to be saying this a lot for the next month and a half, but I would caution against buying anything right before an edition changes, every war scroll changes, potentially every army changes with indexes, and all sorts of mechanics change. It's a tumultuous time. If you're going to buy something right now, then it needs to be something that you are emotionally and financially prepared to. Maybe it just sits on your shelf forever. You gotta be fine with that. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Gotta buy up those Sacrosanct Chamber Stormcast. Why? They're no longer supported. As of, like, they warned you. They warned us a year ahead of time. Never forget that. They warned us a year ahead of time. Old Games Workshop would have cut it off instantly, right? Hey, this shit's gone. Fuck you. For as bad as a lot of the things they did were, at least they warned us a year ahead of time. And possibly even for this edition, if the TOs are kind to people, which they might be. They let people play with Tomb Kings a shit long time, since they were officially out of the game, right? So, I don't know. You were probably joking. Oh, I see that you said that you were joking. But some people aren't. Where they're like, oh, I gotta get this before it's gone. To me, that's weird. Maybe they're just a painter type. If they're just a painter type, then that makes sense to me. Thunder Tusks are Stonehorns, Beast Riders are Huskard or Frostlord. What was that? That's like a disconnected something. I feel like it's not going to stop people who are more in it for the hobby aspect. Yeah, for sure. Plus, if someone wants to proxy models that are bad for decent ones, as long as they share a base size, then you're fine. Well, I'm fine letting them play as whatever, in general. I don't get too caught up in it. You like Thundertusk lore, which makes how bad they are even sadder. Yeah, I mean, someday they'll get good. We've been waiting. When I got into the game, they were a sniper unit. They sniped foot heroes. That was their job. They were pretty good at their job. Not great, but pretty good at their job. A lot of people had wards and bodyguards back then, and still do. And then it became like a D3 that was anti-horde. Kinda. Well, it wasn't really anti-horde. It got better against hordes. Like, the dice went up, but the actual effect never changed. And so they changed their job, or their role in the army, from hero sniper to 30-man unit tickler, which is not a role that I want. ever. And so for what, 6 years, Thunder Tusks have been just kind of crappy. Hey, they said they went through all the war scrolls, evaluated them based on what they imagined the job was going to be. Pure hopium. Absolute pure hopium. Maybe I'll be able to take mine off the shelf. I got 2 hero Thunder Tusks and a battle line Thunder Tusk. And the 2 heroes especially, I customized them up and I think they look really cool. I would like to play with them. Maybe I will in 4th. That'd be sick. First edition Thunder Tusk was insta 6 mortal wounds. Yeah, it was on a 2-up. You had to roll a 2-up and then just 6 mortal wounds. It was very good. If you hurt the Thunder Tusk, it like instantly dropped down to D6 and then even worse. So if you put a little bit of chip damage into them, they would suck. But at the top row, straight 6 mortal wounds. Super strong. Yeah, hope springs eternal. Switch hats, sure. Go for Altered Beast. You missed it. What was the bad news? You didn't miss it. We're on the walk. I walk for an hour or so and talk to chat. And when that dries up, we go over the news and get to content. You know. But I like the question and answer, you know, just the kind of live stuff. I think that's nice. Also, I have to give you my respect because your videos got me to stop holding a torch for fantasy and look more into why Warhammer Fantasy Battlefield and what AOS is about beyond the Age of Sigmar crowd. Yeah, I mean, it's an understandable reaction. You know? It's an understandable reaction. It's a little misappropriated, I guess, or the aim's a little off. Some person likes Age of Sigmar, they had nothing to do with Warhammer Fantasy Battle. That was Games Workshop. Entirely. Top to bottom, right? Like, the reason Warhammer Fantasy Battle was essentially in a comatose state for a decade leading up to it, that's on Games Workshop, right? That's their fault. The reason why it got so bad that it was selling less than their awful paints, you know, that's on GW. Deciding to kill it, that was them, you know. They made this new game, and I like the new game, and a bunch of other people like the new game. We had nothing to do with it. But it sucks when the game you like dies for any reason. It's a sad thing. I've been a part of a lot of games that have died or changed so much you could call them something else, you know. Star Wars Galaxies when it got bought and completely changed, and various all sorts of MMOs that had their heyday and then just died and were taken offline. Editions of some game or another where you liked the previous editions and then they come out with, you know, 4th edition D&D and you're just like, damn, this is not the same, I don't like this. Happens all the time, and it sucks. But also, yeah, it's been almost 10 years. Grow up. They got Old World now. I don't know if it's the same. I have no interest in that game, so I don't know anything about it. But supposedly it's selling well. Play that. Or play 9th Age or something. Basically just leave me alone. But I hope the current version of the old game is good. The Sarcasink squatting still baffles you? Same. So many people have them from 2nd edition. They could have squatted the first wave and re-released them with better proportions now, yeah. The tinfoil hat, I've talked about this before. I'll do a brief version of it. I don't want to go over the same thing too much. But the tinfoil hat that I think I maybe believe is they were hedging their bets. Everyone expects the poster boy faction to get more releases than everybody else. That just makes sense. The most popular faction, when they make something for it, it gives them the most money. That's why they keep making Space Marines. You're kind of lucky when they don't make Space Marines. They're choosing to make less money than they could otherwise. Right? In general, that's like, okay. But also, companies have a long pipeline. You got to plan stuff way ahead of time. And when you change from one to another, those changes are slow. Right? And so I think what they were doing with Stormcast was they were giving them so many models so often. It was almost ridiculous, right? But they were hedging their bets. Hey, if Stormcast take off like Space Marines take off, we got to have enough of them to split up into their own little army books. One per Storm host, just like Space Marines, or one per, what do they call the Space Marine things? Chapters, I think. Is it chapters? Whatever. Ultramarines and Blood Angels and stuff, yeah. And so, just in case, if Stormcast are as big as Space Marines are, we want to be ready to capitalize. But they weren't. Stormcast was pretty popular. People liked him well enough. But they didn't Space Marine like him. And so they're like, well, we were ready in case they did. They don't. So now we're going to essentially wipe half of the table clean and then proceed forward in a more reserved manner. We can't be having 100 models in the Stormcast line. We just can't. We can't keep producing that forever. And turns out Space Marine or Stormcast are plenty popular. They're just not Space Marine popular. So, all right, throw half of them into the garbage. Probably the ones that cost the most to make, ratio of fewest people buy, whatever egghead bean counters do in the background, and then that's it. It was weird that it was Sarcosanct, but I'm sure their numbers back that up. And it was a shitty thanks for the people that bought into Age of Sigmar early when it was pretty shaky, when it wasn't certain that it would succeed. It was a fine thank you, ma'am, to those people. And, we call it out. Imagine if half the game was Stormcast. Oof. No. Don't like it. It's one of the things I don't like about 40k as an outsider. Like half of the army is by number are Space Marines. I want a little more diversity than that. Just in general. But anyway, I'm an outsider. Fenrian, thanks for the tier 1. 21 months. Appreciate it. Perfectly timed sub. We were just talking about Stormcast. Actually true. You surprised that they haven't considered that goodwill with your community generates more people willing to buy your models? Oh yeah, of course it does. That's their whole gimmick. Yeah, they've bought into that type. I think Vince talked about this before, but there's different types of brands, and of those brands there's a different amount of engagement from the people. And so you get some companies choose to foster a Blizzard Entertainment Games Workshop style interaction with their customers. Notice how Games Workshop, they don't call what you do a game, they call what you do the hobby. It's ground up in their marketing and everything, right? And you get the most loyal customers from this. And you get the most passionate customers. And you get people that will just buy. Even if they shouldn't. They'll just buy, right? And they're very loyal. And they're good at spreading their influence and stuff. And those are the positives. The negatives, however, are when you piss them off. They passionately let you know. And now normal ass business decisions that in some other field would just be like, yep, that's how it goes. Hey, you know what? USB 2.0, we don't support USB 2.0 anymore. Only USB 3C on these laptops. Damn, that sucks. All right, I'll get a converter, right? Whatever. It's legacy technology. Or, you know what? We used to make video games. Oh, maybe a video games is a bad example, but yeah, we used to make this and this, but the first thing didn't sell very well, so yeah, we don't offer it anymore. That's a product we don't sell anymore. And then you look at Bone Splitters. Oh, Bone Splitters, yeah. Least popular army, not selling a lot, just not making us a lot of money. And we could overhaul it, but we don't think projection-wise it's worth it, so we won't sell it anymore. That's like a normal business decision. But now, in a game where people call it the hobby, right? That's like a betrayal now. That's a big problem. And it kind of is. But, you know, you lean into it and you reap the benefits and you also reap what you sow. Yeah, I was thinking about talking about Valve there, Vault Boy. Yeah. We used to make video games. Now we make the platform for all video games on PCs. And we essentially do nothing but slightly improve our back-end service for 16 years. And all our competitors shoot themselves in the foot every 3 years forever. And so we stay winning by essentially doing nothing. It's the meme, which is awesome. However, when Gaben finally retires or dies, Steam is going to become complete and utter shit in exactly 2 to 4 years. And it's going to be sad to see. But you're going to have to be ready for it. If you live a long time, you will see this happen to everything. From your favorite movie studio, to your favorite brand IP, to your favorite video game producer or developer or whatever company. They rise and they fall. I could also be talking about a certain video game company. We used to make video games. Now we make pachinko machines. That's another example, I guess. Yep, shareholder. Not all. That's the first step. There's 2 big steps that can ruin everything, Marie Gank. The first is shareholder stuff. When you go public, it's a fundamental shift between making a quality product and making a quality amount of money. That's the first step into enshittification, if you will. The second one is when you get bought. When the conglomerates happen, when one giant thing becomes an umbrella and just, like Jabba the Hutt, just slurps, you know, and just owns stuff. That's the second one. You can survive the first one. There are plenty of public companies still good. You can do it. But I don't know. As soon as Activision buys Blizzard and then they both get bought by Microsoft, and as soon as EA buys Bullfrog Entertainment or what, it's over. It's fucking over. You will be pulled apart. Your organs devoured by weird chittering insectoid creatures, and a walking corpse will wear your face like a mask. It's over. But I liked Dungeon Keeper. Game was great. I liked a lot of the BioWare games until they were incapable of making any good ones. And so on and so forth. Like the good stuff, ignore the bad stuff. Don't buy it. Ahem. Why are you talking about my recurring dreams? Chill. We're walking in the forest. There's plenty of lighting here in this Unreal Engine 5 test. You think the video game version of squatting whole factions would be if the least played classes in MMO were just removed from the game and you had max level characters getting deactivated? Yeah, basically. Yeah, kind of like that, I suppose. Because it's kind of all within one game, but it's kind of not. You know. Don't buy it? I don't understand. Yeah, that's the thing. Unfortunately, all the people in charge that you hate have, through trial and error, and statistically backing this up with pure math, they have discovered the truth. And the truth is, the children yearn for slop. They fucking love it. You see some game and you see some like bullshit thing where you're just like, this sucks. This ruins everything. There's no way anyone would buy that. Go ahead. Watch. Watch 14 million of them throw their wallets at the screen. It can't stop being purchased. It's so successful. Okay, all right. It's not something to get worked up over. It's like gravity. It's just a force in nature represented by math. And, you know. It's just a part of life. It's not worth being mad at. You guess that's happening to Escape from Tarkov right now? Battle State is killing themselves. Honestly, I can't even say that I heard of that. I saw a thumbnail. And I don't click on thumbnails like that. But yeah, probably on that one, I think probably true. I'm gonna curate my feed. Much like not buying the game that has, you know, it's got all these loot boxes, you know, and phone game stuff. I'm not gonna buy those. In the same way, I don't click on thumbnails like that. Some of them may be true or something, but I'll figure that out some otherwise if I care to. Call of Duty made over $1 billion last year, despite how much people complain about it. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when the first Call of Duty came out, and I'm like, that looks dumb. I'm not interested. And it kept coming out. It kept getting released, and I'm like, man, that game sucks. How is it still being made? Well, it makes like $1 billion a year. People fucking love it. It's me anytime I look at a soccer game. I'm like, who buys this? And then you look, oh, apparently it's like a government mandate. Every single country south of the equator is required to buy every soccer game that's ever produced, ever. All right. Not everything has to appeal to me, right? Call of Duty 18. I don't even know if you're joking. I don't even know if there are 18. There might be. More like Call of Duty, am I right? Yeah. Meanwhile, some folks are still out there playing Dwarf Fortress. Yeah. It's fine. You know, I recently reacquired all of my ancient games. And so I was looking through years and figuring out what I missed and everything. There's enough video games that have ever existed that have aged well and were like culturally significant at their time and changed how games were, just like really good. Graphically, not so much anymore, but even some of those have aged fine. Right? You could play games that have been released in the last 20 years for the next 20 years if you felt like it. You'd probably be fine. No shortage of games to get and play. You have a money gun and you're just deciding where to aim it. Graphics have plateaued. Not really. But graphics have never really been that important. Art style has always been significantly more important. And if your art style is good, your game's going to age better as well. What we're doing right now with graphics essentially is you have to use fewer clever tricks to hide your fidelity or lack of, or help out with processing power or something. Brutal Legend is one of the games you always go back to because of how cool it is. You always recommend it to people. The soundtrack is fantastic and the art style is great. That's the one with Jack Black and Psychonauts guy, right? If I recall correctly. As long as Diablo 2 exists, there will always be a good time to play. True. I was almost going to play that tonight. I was almost going to be like, you know what? I'm booming. I'm going to play Diablo 2, and we'll talk about Age of Sigmar. I have half a mind to do that for the second half of the stream, until I watch the viewer count just plummet and I have to cut it off. I got a paladin I'm working on. Ahem. Grim Fandango's another hidden gem. Arrested at Waffle House. That was a good one. For sure. You always prefer a story like Planescape Torment over graphic fidelity. Yeah, I mean, that's a type, though. I'm that type. That's just me. I think most people, I think the vast majority of gamers, they do this. When the dialogue comes on the screen or you get the thing to read, just mashing, skip, please skip. Oh, I want to skip the cutscene. I want to skip the dialogue. I don't want to read that. Skip, right? I think that's like 99% of all people. For me, I actually like the story stuff. But you can't fault them for caring about what people care about. There's still hope, man. There's great games coming out every year. Still, you know? Elden Ring came out. Baldur's Gate 3 came out. They finally finished the Balespawn trilogy after 30 years. You know, there may not be as many games that affected how games would forever be made as like those in 98 or something like that, but there's a solid like 3 humongously excellent games coming out every year. Isn't that enough? That's a lot. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, let's go. Coming out this year, supposedly. One of your favorite games of all time is Donkey Kong 64. You can't complain about graphics, yeah. Mario 64 is still pretty popular, although it's because of speedrunning. Anyone love Black and White? Oh, a Peter Molyneux joint, huh? I wonder whatever happened to that one. I played it when it came out. I remember using your hand to draw spells into the air, and you had to pat or slap your little avatar creation cow-looking monkey thing. That was a fun one. It was like super flawed but interesting. Jedi Outcast? Ooh, Jedi Outcast was great. Jedi Knight 2. Actually, the first Jedi Knight was really cool as well. Yeah, those were good ones. I like those. Black and White is abandonware now. It's on my abandonware. Is it really? Cool. Yeah, it had cutscenes with real-ass people. The FMV days. Fable was a fun one. I had to play it at my friend's house. I never had an Xbox. Lunacid came out this year, and it's really cool. A throwback to Kingsfield. Interesting, Wolf Smasher. Be right back. Gonna lose 2 months of your life replaying KOTOR. Yeah. The good years. Still waiting for Daikatana to make me John Romero's bitch. Hey, you can technically play that nowadays. It's kind of like a... Daikatana is kind of like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, in that with enough medical attention, you can technically get it playable. It's not, unlike Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, it's not like good or well written or anything, but you can see what he was going for. Poor guy made one bad game and they flushed him down the toilet. It's not fair. It's just not fair. So many companies make 7 awful games in a row, and the people in charge are just hired again. But Romero makes one mistake, and he's out. All right. Might you recommend Backpack Battles on Steam? Sure, I'll look into it. Always looking for new little tiny games to play, maybe. Yeah, the advertisements were off. They were off kilter. And that's kind of a famously bad one, right? But you do also have to understand. Look up advertisements from that era. They were all, not all, okay. It was very common to see advertisements that bad or worse, that off color or worse, all the time, especially print ones. John Romero is going to make you his bitch is not singular. Dude, they were wildin' with the video game advertisements, especially in print form back then. Like Mad Men kind of stuff. Super sexist stuff, just wacky. I mean, they knew their exact target audience, which was young boys, and they went for it. And it really worked for them. Never forget that either. They fucking hit those ads. And they worked. You spent 50 hours playing Final Fantasy IX with Moguri Mod. It's a great Final Fantasy with the best soundtrack in the series. I don't remember the music from 9 very much. Huh. Balls of Steel ad, Gears of War, Crash Bandicoot one. Yeah, the Gauntlet Legends one. The Tekken She Kicks High one. There's a million, you know. You love to see more Final Fantasy IX fans agreeing it's your favorite. I actually think it's the worst one. Obviously, I'm exaggerating slightly, but here's where my opinion differs from everyone else in the world. I hated Final Fantasy IX. I stopped playing it. I hated the main character, I hated the story, I hated every other character. I legit hated the game. And then everyone kept saying it was so good, and I went back, and I tried to play it 3 times. And I got almost all the way through it, to the 3rd disc on the final one. I just couldn't do it. I hated, all of it. I don't know. To me, it's inexplicably super popular. Hated Steiner? Yes. And Vivi? No, Vivi was good. For like a young kid, the first time they're exploring the concept of free will and stuff, Vivi was a fine character. Who's the rat chick? She was kind of cool, I guess. The one with the spear. But hated basically all the others. Especially the main character and Dagger, the main girl. And the plot made no sense to me. Freya, yeah. Didn't like it. Yeah, she had a good quote. The best Final Fantasy game is Chrono Trigger. Incorrect. The best Final Fantasy game is Tactics, but close. Chrono Trigger overrated as well. Held back by Toriyama's middling art. Had a humongous budget, ended up being kind of short. It's a good game. It's just constantly referred to as like best game of all time in that era. And nah. Super overrated. Still good, but super overrated. I went back and played it even. 2014 era. Like went back and played it with a fresh head. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I could see the production value. The production value carries hard. Music great. Interesting idea. But in general, pretty overrated. Somebody give me something else to disagree with everyone on the whole planet about, opinion-wise. Those are two good ones so far. Nine being mostly insufferable because of the characters and the plot, and Chrono Trigger being overrated but still good. Earthbound, I went back and played Earthbound as well. It held up. It's great. Charming, silly, childish in a good way. Earthbound fully held up. Yeah. It earned it. Tell them how much you love Halo. When Halo came out, it was a barely mid first-person shooter trapped on a console. Not noteworthy whatsoever, except it was on a console. So it was fun for what it was, I guess, but nothing special at all. And it spawned just a massive, humongous series. The sequels to which all got worse, progressively. Just about. If anyone was a fan of first-person shooters at the time Halo came out, it was like, oh yeah, it's a mid-ass FPS, I guess. But it was the first one you could play on a console reasonably, and so it blew up. Poorly, because you had to use a stupid controller, which is just an awful way to control an FPS. How else can I disagree with everyone on the whole planet? Hey, with the big takes, yeah. This is the hottest take ever. I don't think so. It was an entire generation's introduction to the concept of FPSs. And since they didn't know, how could they not? How could they know? Wasn't Unreal Tournament before HeyWoah. Unreal Tournament was pretty good. UT 2K3 was not. UT 2K4 was probably the best one. 2K4 is where the Unreal peaked, for sure. Still not as good as Quake 3 Arena, but it had its own niche and it was good. Hot take, Wes Anderson is a hack fraud. I don't terrifically enjoy his shtick nor his movies. If there's a Wes Anderson movie coming out, I'm not like, ooh, I have to see the next one. I appreciate that there are still artists and directors allowed to make exactly movies that are them and that just represent them, and they have their own style, and you immediately know, you recognize that it's from them. I think that's in general a good thing, even if I'm not in love with that concept. I was hoping as I grew older that that would kind of happen to video games, and it almost did, but not quite. No. Kojima's probably the closest to it. And he's fucking hilarious. In good ways and bad ways. Tribes, anyone? I've never played Tribes, I don't think. Sang Dahori. I might have installed it and played it once at a LAN or something, but don't know enough. Luke Skywalker with the Switch hats. I'll get to it. Halo 1 and 3 were great, to each their own. Keep up the great work, HeyWoah. Here, I can meet you in the middle. Halo 1 through 3 were the best FPSs on console ever at the time they were released. For sure. No question. The best console FPSs. So there, we can shake hands on that one. That one's obviously true. Time Splitters was better. Here we go. Only because of the vehicles? Yeah. I mean, half of the fun was how poorly they were made. And the bullshit you could pull off with the stupid physics engine and the awful vehicles just bouncing all over the place. Like, that stuff was fun. But that's fun no matter what game you're playing. With the boys, am I right? Better than GoldenEye at the time it was released? GoldenEye sucked. Great for speedrunning, but kind of like difficult to control mess of lag and nonsense. It was cool when it came out, yeah. Agree. But it quickly, I don't know, that N64 era was kind of short. Quake 3 or Unreal Tournament? Quake 3 for sure. Not taking anything away from Unreal Tournament, 2K4 was very good. It's just the Quake 3 Arena kind of invented something. What's your favorite YouTube map and why is it facing worlds? Oh, a sniper, huh? Hey, we'll start talking AOS where we agree more. These video game takes are wounding me. Well, that's because we are selecting on purpose for the most disagreeable takes, right? When reviewing games, you refuse to give credit for fun with friends because everything is fun with friends. Yeah, it means nothing. I agree. What's your opinion on elves? Just in a vacuum? I don't know, I like elves, right? Out of context, sure, their ears look funny, right? They got funny ears, that's fun. They live a long time, that's cool. They're kind of mysterious, and there's this fey kind of Seelie on Seelie stuff. There's a bunch of cool lore around them, Tolkien stuff. Depending on the media, there's just a lot you can get into, I guess. Deedlit's cool, but Pirates way better. No facial hair, though. True. That's a downside. But I don't care about elven men. You can have them. Doesn't factor into my judgment whatsoever. I will argue with you on Final Fantasy IX, but hard to agree with the tactics being one of the best. We will shake. Yeah, we can find common ground. Democracy, super democracy even, is built on compromise, right? Dwarves are cool. Agree. Yeah, I like dwarves too. Dwarves are fun. I like elves and dwarves for the most part. Nostalgia is a weird thing that reprograms people's brains. Modern games are mostly better. I don't know. I disagree, I think. I went back and played a bunch of old games that I had not played, so I didn't have the nostalgia. And some of them felt overrated, and some of them I could really see what people saw in them. It just kind of depends. Then again, I'm a person who I can watch an old movie and put myself in the time period and not mind that it's black and white or something. Maybe that's harder for other people. Have you played Heart of Darkness? No. Do you like the new White Dwarf? I don't read magazines in the year of our Lord 2024. Can't believe GW makes them. Waste of time. Love the chill content. Keep doing what you're doing. These stream VODs make my day. Hey, Hugo Bax. Thanks for the highlighted message. Appreciate it. Even though it's the hot take hour, I guess, from me. Crushing people's childhoods. Oh, the model, not the magazine. Grombrindal. He's the Santa Claus guy. Don't care about that either. Is it a... Can I play it in AOS? No, then I don't care. Not to be dismissive, but it's hot take hour, right? So only good elves are in dungeon meshy. Is that a type of fence? Like corrugated chain link, maybe? Final Fantasy 13. Good, bad, nonsensical mess. All the above, except good. Got him. Out of all the Final Fantasies ever, 13 was the one that got 2 sequels. Alright. Okay. Bold move. Bold. There's a game called Baroque. Yes, I played it on PS1. I fondly recall hating it, but then getting way in too deep about the story and the lore and reading all sorts of ancillary stuff about it, and I thought the other story was actually quite cool. Very Japanese, but quite cool. Horrendous gameplay, I thought, at the time. But one of those games that masochistically, like, forces you to get into it. Anyway, unbelievably based taste for bringing up Baroque. These are. That unleashed an ancient memory of mine. I certainly never ended up finishing the game, I don't think. But I became obsessed with figuring out what happened and all the lore and art and everything. A million years ago. Suikoden is the RPG series most people didn't play that was one of the best. I went back and played Suikoden 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 totally lived up to the hype. Really excellent. Liked it very much. 3... I mean, at least it wasn't one of the 3D ones. 4, I couldn't. After a few hours, I'm just like, let's just remember 1 and 2, which were quite good and nice. I can see why the series is no longer made today, though. It didn't survive the transition to 3D. The Grombrindal Mini is going to be playable in AOS for information. Oh, okay. Neat. Do I get to see him? Is there a... Can somebody post a picture of him in Giga, maybe? And I'll click on it. And when I click on it, I'll be like, I don't like the idea of, like, some dwarven Santa. That's funny in like a marketing thing, but I kind of don't want it to really exist. But maybe that's a different Grombendraw and I'm thinking of something else. It's Legends, you thought? Oh, then it's not playable in AOS. Never mind. How are they doing the new Grombendraw model? So it's releasing for White Dwarf, but you need a subscription or it's limited run store? Oh, I don't know. Jack Brothers for the Virtual Boy is the best Shin Megami game. I didn't know the Virtual Boy got real games. I know it had like tennis. It had like a fucking pinball and stuff. A space shoot 'em kind of game. What was Jack Bros? What was that? Jack Bros is not a real game. Oh, okay. Well, you got me. You love old movies, but the viewing experience hasn't changed. You sit down and watch. Games have gradually improved the way you interact. Yeah, the controls have, especially, so what I find is there's an era where 3D was brand new. Brand spanking new. And nobody really knew yet how to do controls, either keyboard and mouse or on a controller, but especially on controller. Nobody really knew how to do that yet. And they were just trying to figure it out. And in the cusp of 3D is where you'll get like a bubble of stuff that's kind of unplayable. But you'll find plenty of great, like, controls work just fine as far as controlling or interacting with it. From before and after, I think. Some of the menu systems are goofy. If you go really far back, you're playing some, you know, Zork-looking ass game or some point-and-click stuff where you have to type in questions, you know, and maybe there's no map and they expected you to take notes during the game and stuff. Yeah, it becomes a lot harder to play. And I, in general, wouldn't recommend that stuff. That's a little too much to ask for them, I guess. Riku merch arrived. New desk pad. Let's go. Remember playing Ape Escape when you were a kid? 3D platformer? Oh yeah, I know Ape Escape. That thing pops up in the best list, in the best games of each year a few times. For sure. Ape Escape. Oh yeah, I was supposed to switch hats. Hey, I'm gonna switch hats. And cut to commercial. Because I gotta get up and get one hot chip. Just one. I'll be right back.
Hello there. I'm Mr. Cream.
AC Penny. When it fits, you feel it.
Once you pop,
The cream.
don't stop.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face.
Deliciously hot, dangerously creamy.
The juice is loose.
She wanted to remember the love they shared for
Cream.
Sometimes you feel like a
Stuffed 5 ways.
So my family's looking for beef.
Now, that's what I call
Cream, yeah.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough.
And I am the cream.
Then why do we call it big? Because big things go into it.
at the Men's Warehouse.
You got cream.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it. Dude, that was good. It was one of those purple ones. Doritos purple. Delicious. Yeah, so my family's looking for beef. He's powering up more bad takes. Now I wanted to update the thumbnail on Twitch so that it has like some neat thing happening. Also have one chip. Hot take, we should embrace Legends more. Disagree. Let people play with their toys. They're almost never overpowered. If Games Workshop wants to support them, I think they should. But if they're outside the realm of general balance and update, then I just put them in the game or don't. No. The last thing I want to do is like, oh, can I use my custom? Oh, okay. No. I don't mean to poo-poo it. I just think that GW should support them. Put them in the normal game instead of Legends. Or get rid of them. A lot of Legend stuff can be updated fairly easily for the game. True. I think Games Workshop should do that. If they're going to. They're going to sell the stuff. I guess a lot of Legends isn't sold. That's the point. Ahem. Rage of Mages, Dungeon Keeper, some old fun. Yeah, dude, those are good. That was some good stuff. Morrowind was great. Arden Throne. The last great Bethesda game. Also the first great Bethesda game. Damn, imagine that. Ever play Kingdom of Loathing? No, I haven't. Is it good? The only great Bethesda game? Not necessarily true. Bethesda published Doom 2016, and that was good. But that's not really what we're talking about. Daggerfall's tight. I liked Daggerfall. Yeah. But Morrowind is great. Kind of untouchable, I guess. Ever played Fatal? No, but there was a meme... going around about the rules to Fatal that was entertaining to me in the before time. If BCR got a whole refresh, would you rebuy the whole army or just proxy would you have? Probably rebuy, if they were good enough. A lot of my customization is bases, so I wouldn't even miss out on that much. If it was really different looking and way better, yeah, I'd probably rebuy it. I never buy new armies anyway. I have one army. I'm not one of those people that has 5 armies, 4 armies, 3 armies, 7 armies. So I've coasted by not buying much for a long time. Then I would be able to do a whole bunch of hobby streams. That'd be fun. I mean, not really. Hobby streams are annoying. You get like nothing done because you end up talking the whole time. So if your goal is to get work done, it's actually better not to stream and just sit there and do it. I get accomplished in 20 minutes what I would get accomplished in a 3-hour stream, just from having to dick with stuff and answer people's questions and try to be entertaining. But did you like any of the Gears of War games? I never played Gears of War. Never had an Xbox. So I don't know about them. At the time, people rolled their eyes and they're like fat cover-based shooter. But I don't know what the truth was. I don't know if the game was good or not. Don't blame us because you have a bad attention span. My attention span is fine. I'm just concerned about making it a stream that's even vaguely worth watching. I say, approaching my 2nd hour of just talking to chat and walking to Persona music. But first of all, this is what you signed up for. And second of all, we'll get to the news in a second. A series of seconds. An amount of time that can technically be counted with seconds. Although a great deal of them. Ogre scale needs to change, agree. But if it's just the foot dudes and all the mounts will look weird, yeah, that's an issue, dangerously cheesy. Good name. I wonder what they'll do. After Skaven, Absolute Hopium, we are next in line. Like the Dio song. Oh no, wait, it's last in line. Never mind. You ever heard of this little indie game called Persona? Yeah, it sucked. And then 2 was really good. Story-wise, it's the wildest story. It's a crazy story. I tried to go back and play it. It's tough to get through nowadays. It's that type of old. The kind of like Eye of the Beholder style, like you're looking first person through a screen, and it, you know, we're not even at Stone Keep level. We're in like Eye of the Beholder 1 or 2 kind of level. It's kind of, some of those are tough to play. But yeah, Persona 2 had an awesome story. Both ones, and one of them for whatever reason wasn't brought over to America. Yeah, it's a brief span of time in geological timescales. Big time. Deep time. Persona 5 is probably your favorite still? I don't know. My favorite is 3, but it's because of nostalgia, right? So I'm not immune to nostalgia. I'm just aware when it's happening, which is a good start. So yeah, 3 is my favorite because it was the first one that I played, and also nostalgia, and also Elizabeth. 4 is the comfiest one with the best memes, for sure. 5 is the most stylish. They gave up a lot to make sure the story was one humongous twist, which was cool, but I wonder if they lost a little. A lot of the character interactions are kind of janky in 5, especially around Morgana. Real contrived in a way to just have something happen in the story, you know? But I liked 5 plenty. I'm not here to dog on it. 5 was great. They're all good. I like them all. Next in line for the trash can. Yeah, or the chopping block. You would think that if they were going to flush my army down the toilet, they would do it right now, when they did that to 2 others, right? It's hard to predict, but I think I'm marked safe for now. SMT or Persona? Persona. Somebody recommended to me SMT 4. They said that it was the best one. I don't know if that's true. I started playing it, and then, I don't know, I got a new job or something, and I couldn't keep it up or some such. And so I've just never really played any other SMTs. People like them. I get the sense that the people who like Shin Megami Tensei are a little miffed. A little chorfed, if you will, at Persona's popularity. Because they like the SMT games. And it's not like an unreasonable place to be. Ogre Kingdom's legacy factions, Ogre Tribes is safe. Yeah, but what if they just change that tomorrow? What if tomorrow they decide, you know what, it's not a legend army. It's a TOW army now. They could just do that. I don't know. Their reasoning for getting rid of BOC was so retarded to me that the future decisions around that circumstance, to me, are now unpredictable. They can't be pierced. They'll just do whatever. And so I'm not sure. I feel safe, but who knows? They could change that rule whenever they want. The legacy faction thing? I don't know. It's so silly. I mentioned Dungeon Keeper a while ago. Have you tried War for the Overworld? It was made by the same devs that made Dungeon Keeper. Oh, word? War for the Overworld. All right. I'm going to look into it. Because I really liked Dungeon Keeper. That shit was hot. That was a fun game. Atlas will still make SMT though. Persona has long waits while they sell us Dancing for the third time and Strike. Yeah, every spin-off they can possibly do. It's fine. They make one Persona game every console generation. Barely. Alright, I'll wait. No big deal. Also, they're coming out with a... Is it this year? It's not this year. There's gonna be some sort of like Persona but fantasy game. I don't know what it's called. I don't know anything about it. I just heard it's like, hey, the Persona people are making a Persona game, but it's fantasy. Alright, I'll buy it. I'll probably just buy it. That sounds interesting to me. You should get the MVC2 Fighter Selects music. I don't know if getting taken for a ride for an hour will get, like, that's, you know, that's a very short song that just loops. I remember that song. We always play that game on Dreamcast a lot. But maybe as an intro song or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, good callback. Apparently Chaos is the only faction that can exist in multiple Warhammer games. Yeah. And that's only as an Easter egg, and they keep saying that it's not the same thing. It's just, it's different people. It's just like a kind of an Easter egg, I guess. Fair enough. It has the stupidest ever name. Fantasy Persona would be better. Yeah, they should ride the IP. It should be called Persona : Fantasy version in italics. And then I think it would literally sell more. Call it Persona 6. No explanation. And it would sell better. Thanks to these streams, this song has been in your head for weeks. What's the song name? This one? I can't remember what the name of the song is. Perhaps somebody will know. Apologies, Destructive Panda. Looks fantastic and doesn't have the romance system. Never liked that part of the Personas. Oh, it doesn't have the romance system. Oh, alright. Pre-order canceled. Nosferatu. Thank you for warning me. I've canceled my pre-order as of right now, and I'm gonna see what the game looks like once it comes out, and then I'll make my decision. If that's the case. Yeah, Nosferatu. If that's true, you've 70% killed my excitement for that game. I'm gonna look, you know, it's worth looking up later. I'll look into it. My day is not yet ruined. Bro, there's 200 of us watching and barely over 50 thumbs up. What's with that? I don't ask people to like and subscribe or give a thumbs up. I probably should. It works. But yeah, I don't ask people to do that, so I think it helps in some way, but they're watching, you know. I'm happy that they're watching. I appreciate that they're here, you know? That's pretty good. Clicking a button, that's maybe going above and beyond. I don't want to bother them with it. HeyWoah must finally be recognized as big on YouTube's eyes. Been watching all your streams and just got your first ad. There's advertisements on YouTube. I've ascended to being big enough so that it's worth showing those. Damn, Soothsayer. Sorry about that. Google's saying Joy, Persona 3. Okay, I think that's probably right. It has a social link system, but it's not about waifus. Okay. Alright. I'll look into it. My day isn't ruined, but I'm hesitant. I'm suspicious. If you want more BG music, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk's OST is S tier. Yes, it is, Phase Rune. The thing is, when I'm figuring out music to play on the stream, I make a YouTube video that's blank out of it and just write test on it, upload it, and then pretend it's going to be a YouTube video, but I keep it like unlisted, and I just let the robots search for it, and I see if I get any copyright things. And if I don't, then I can put it in the stream music playlist. And, you know, I'm continuously growing this thing. Ahem. Sometimes it finds it, sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of really cool music, unfortunately, gets tagged, and it's like revenue sharing. You can't. This video is blocked in Belarus and Russia. All right. I guess I won't play that on stream. A lot of the Bateman walks are now DMCA'd, sadly. But anyway, that's a good one. A lot of the background music that I like is like too hype, you know? Because my energy is normally like this. We're chatting, you're painting, right? But if the background music is actually too sick, it becomes a problem. For instance, I had the Bloodborne soundtrack on one of them. But all that music is so goddamn epic that it like overshadows what we're doing or talking about. It doesn't quite fit, even though it's great. Which is maybe an issue, I don't know. Thanks for everyone giving you the song name. Now you can listen to it when you start studying for the finals. Yeah, you can listen to it when the teacher asks you a question, and if you know the answer, then your charm goes up, not your knowledge. HeyWoah, interview from 3 days ago, confirmed no romance? Oh, okay. Well, pre-order canceled. I still probably am going to play it eventually, but maybe I'll wait for it to go on sale, or I'll look into it a bit more. No pre-order for me. Still might play it, but I'm chilling for a second. Anyway, thanks for the datum. Bad game confirmed. No, not bad game confirmed, just a different type of game that I was hoping for. Punished HeyWoah, a man denied his waifus. Look, there's plenty of waifu games for everybody, and there's plenty of non-waifu games for everybody. Everybody gets to choose whatever they want. It's like going to Las Vegas. There's something for everyone, right? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of waifus to collect in the Steam folder, right? I was just hoping, you know, the better the story, the better the writing, the better, right? So, last old game. How about Arcanum? Do you think Arcanum counts as a hidden gem? I don't think so. I remember it being good. I liked the setting. It was cool. I don't remember too much about it. I played it a million years ago. I remember liking it, but I can't pick out any super details from it. As much as I just like Dark Souls 2, you gotta give it up. Mahula is hands down the best hub in the series. Okay. Risk Rain 2 enjoyers in chat. Back to unpopular takes. DS2 is the GOAT. Okay. I think that's unpopular, right? Is that unpopular? Is Dark Souls 2 the one that people don't like, or is it 3 the one that people don't like? And by don't like, I mean the one that everybody thinks isn't the best or something. Which is the one? 2 is the one people don't like. Okay. It's 2. Generally speaking, it's unpopular. Okay. When Demon Souls, Dark Souls, when that stuff started coming out for consoles, I no longer had a console, I only had a PC. So I never played them. I played a little bit of, I want to say Dark Souls, when I was at a friend's place. And I'm like, man, the controls are terrible. This is slow and a weird delay. Oh, okay, the difficulty is you're supposed to take that and then succeed anyway. And there's a bunch of stuff to memorize, and the bosses are slow swinging, they got patterns. Okay. But yeah, not for me, really. Loved the art style, loved the music. Played it for about an hour and a half and didn't have much time to play it regardless. The most recent, yeah, and then I basically ignored the series forever. And people kept saying it was good and they were playing it, but I'm like, yeah, okay, console game. Wonderful art style, love the music. Not really looking to play it exactly. Looks like it's hard. Maybe in a fun way, I don't know. Played Elden Ring, like that. Elden Ring was cool. They're still just knocking it out of the park. It's like, hey, we're gonna release a game. It's gonna have excellent art direction and excellent music, no matter what. Like home run every time. That's what I can say about the series. It's known for being difficult. I played it a million years ago for like an hour and found the controls to be annoying and slow. But that's part of the difficulty, I think. Yeah, and then I watched somebody play a little bit of Bloodborne here and there, but yeah, I didn't have any interaction with the series from then until the rest of time, and then Elden Ring came out a few years ago and I played it on PC and it was really fun. Liked it a lot. So that's my timeline of Dark Souls. Played number 1, controls sucked, but I liked everything else. Didn't have a lot of time to play it, so just stopped. And then nothing. And then Elden Ring, really liked it. That's my interaction, personally playing any of them. Watched a lot of speed runs. Watched a lot of speed runs of Dark Souls. Looks like a very fun speedrun game. Fun. Major L. Would anyone call Chrono Cross Hidden Gem? No. They would probably, if someone was here to say that Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross was good or something, they would call it underrated. Because when it came out, everyone thought it was going to be Chrono Trigger 2, and it wasn't. And so everyone was disappointed in it. If it was kind of good despite that, I would call it underrated or something. I played like an hour or 2 of it and stopped. So I can't speak to how good it is at all. I would say underrated and essentially overlooked because it wasn't Chrono Trigger at the time. But anyway, I don't know how good it was in any case. Have you tried Sekiro? No. Have you heard of Noah Caldwell Gervais? He does massive video essays on game franchises. Feel like it would be your vibe. No. I like super long, I don't know, video essay, but I like super long explanation of everything happening around the creation of some game. That stuff is interesting to me. So, yeah, I think so. Yeah, 3-hour videos about Mario 64 Invisible Walls. Absolutely Kino. GDC speeches, basically. Yeah, actually. I'll go on a channel and I want to hear about some game. And if the video's 15 minutes long, I'm like, why even? I don't even want to click on this. Your video, I mean, approach 1 hour, and that's like, maybe I'll start with that. I want to know everything. I'm here for a long time. I got fucking color correction to do for 3 hours. Or some bullshit ass. Never mind, I'm not gonna talk about what I'm working on, but anyway. I'm gonna be here for a long time. I want something to listen to for a long time on the second screen. Instead of every 15 minutes have to find another fucking video or whatever. I don't like short format, basically anything. The shorter the format, the least interested I am in it, just about, almost one-to-one. Which is sad, because now I do like 10-minute videos, because I don't have time to do anything else, and so I have become my own worst enemy. But it's only for these 2 months, chasing partner, and then either I get accepted or they tell me to fuck off, and then we can go back to regularly scheduled, never uploading every 4 years except for a humongous video. Probably increased rate, though. Totally unrelated. Do you know Bricky personally? No, I don't. You'd love to bully him into playing AOS? Yeah. I don't know Bricky. The only thing... Yeah, I don't have a lot of interaction with many other content creators. He's also fucking huge, and I'm literal who, so it wouldn't make much sense for me to, in any case. We need more AOS VTuber girls. Please! Please! Someday. Someday, Matara Khan's gonna look at Alariel and be like, what's this game? And then she's gonna type in, what's Age of Sigmar? It's gonna be my video. A man can dream. And then I'll, like, wake up in a cold sweat in a padded room somewhere. And they're like, you've been in a coma for 35 years. You have to wake up. You were in a car crash. It'll be great. Ricky has mentioned a few times he can't justify getting into AOS money and time-wise, but he loved the Fleasure Courts refresh. I think that's a very sane, salient take. You know? It's essentially why I'm not getting into 40k and why I'm not getting into all the different side games. It's essentially what I say. I don't have the time or money to get into another. It's remarkably responsible of a take. It's not your fault, son. Yeah. When AOS 15 is released and it still has battle tactics, god damn it. You're doing YouTuber collabs? I'm not. We're still waiting for the showdown with Vince the Body Venturella. Yeah, true. It's the Vince the Body Benchurella, as in benching, you know, bench press. Yeah, I don't really do collabs. Mostly because I don't like watching them. And it's a pain. And you got to get everybody else's audio working and stuff. I'll do it eventually once or twice if a big opportunity comes along. Right. Like, for sure I'll do it, but in general, I steer clear. Much like how I'm a hermit in real life and don't go outside. It's kind of how I am as a content creator. I'm just chilling. I got my waifu games, and I got my little Henya the Geniuses on my second monitor, and then on the third monitor over here, I got a 4-hour history of why Persona 2 didn't get chopped up into 2 pieces and one half was sent to America and one wasn't, and then I'm just editing in the main thing. Switch hats, sure, I'll get to it. Warhammer podcast wanted to get into AOS before the pandemic, but they wanted to do Skaven and Seraphon, and they both said it looked like ass. Yeah, I mean, they did. Those two factions looked awful back then. Skaven still does until 4th edition. So, yeah. I mean, I like Age of Sigmar. I think the game's fun, and in a certain sense, I'm sort of advertising for Age of Sigmar, in a sense, right? But if something isn't good, then I'm not gonna, like, pretend it's not. Like, oh, it's charming, it's history. Like, no. Finecast Yetis are just shit. They just are. They're bad. This rule isn't good. Before AOS had points, it was trash. You can be truthful about your stuff, but still like it. Right. Don't be a Homer Simpson. You have friends who are getting into a new system every month, only to then sell what they bought for 30% of the price and jump ship to a new game. You'll stick to AOS. I don't get that type of person. I don't like that. Makes me uncomfortable. That's kind of common, though. I don't like it. That's not me. I like to specialize. I mean, I still play Diablo 2, right? I'm slow. Hermit lifers rise up. Is it worth getting into ogres, or do you think it's better to wait for new models? Momo Taro says. I'm going to give you two conflicting answers, but then I'll explain myself and all will become clear. Is it worth getting into ogres, even though there might be new models on the horizon? Yeah, I think so, because that's not a guarantee. They haven't told us, and we have no way of knowing, so maybe you'll just be waiting forever. However, it's not worth getting into ogres right now, because we are on the exact event horizon of the black hole that is 4th edition, where all the rules currently in 3rd edition, all your battle tactics, all your battle plans, all your books and war scrolls are getting slurped into it and will have no meaning and be reborn again through Hawking radiation or something. And so it's not a good time to buy right before everything changes rules-wise for 4th edition. So, yes and no in that order. Homer is slang term in sports for somebody who's biased towards a team. Parenthetical, the home team. Oh, okay. Yeah, my mind went to The Simpsons on it. Fair enough. Yeah, Momotaro, I would, in general, just keep an eye on it. Keep an ear to the ground. 4th ed's coming out, indexes are coming out. It's all happening in the next month or so. So just kind of chill, I guess. Conceivably, they will be letting us know early if new Ogre stuff is on the horizon. But who knows? It's hard to predict. This isn't going to quite make sense, but I think it might. There is a limit to how much value matters. Okay? Like, how long are you going to use this thing? You buy some ogres, and you could use them for 1 year, you could use them for 3 years, you could use them until 7th edition. You know, you could use them for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. How many years of you using them is worth what? Maybe you wait forever, you never end up playing the game. Some people do just wait for a while, and it's fine not to play. But it's like cleaning your plate at a restaurant. You order something, and then your food's on the plate, right? And you kind of want to finish everything. Because if you don't, you kind of wasted your money. Like, the food that's left on your plate when you're done eating, you paid for that. and it is now gone to waste, right? But thinking about it another way, if you don't eat all that food, maybe you eat half of it. Maybe that's good that you just ate half of it. Trying to watch what you eat, right? Trying to lose some weight. Maybe you just eat half of it. You wasted money, but on the flip side, you ate a normal amount instead of too much. And so there's a limit where getting your money's worth gets in the way of the things that matter a lot more. And you just have to decide on that yourself. Save half for later, then it's not a waste. Pretend it's a type of food that you can't, like it, you know, it doesn't work for leftovers somehow. But anyway, good point. Fizz6, thanks for the tier 1 for 12 months. On a 2-month streak, thanks a lot. How would you feel if they made a Total War AOS? Considering I don't like Total War's gameplay, like controlling the army, I hate that part. It turned me off from the entire game. I hate controlling the armies on the battlefield. Your troops never listen to you, running around in random ass areas. I never got used to it. I hated controlling them. I just wanted to like auto complete the battles and do the overworld stuff. I loved all the overworld stuff. Didn't like the controlling the armies part to me. So that's like my opinion on the Total War series. But I feel that Age of Sigmar would be well served having one good game, right? Look at how much having one good game, or now two, I guess, did for Warhammer Fantasy. Their game was dead and it made their game popular enough to be noticed, right? So, yeah, it'd be nice if Age of Sigmar had a good game. I would be happy just for that fact, more than wanting to play it. Realms of Ruin wasn't that bad. I disagree. The OS strategy game came out recently, looked terrible. It was. AOS would be a better Total War game than 40k for sure. AOS has a decent VR game, Lamau. AOS Vermintide could be fun. The Total War community would riot. Have you all seen how mad they got over Zankor? No, I don't know anything about the Total War community. We did a stream before. Oh, speaking of previous streams, we did a stream where we, as a whole chat and everybody, we came up with possible video games that AOS could have. And naturally, being the Diablo 2 enjoyer that I am, my idea for Age of Sigmar was an ARPG. Instead of choose a class, you choose a foot hero representative of every army. So there's like 25 classes. And it's just like a Diablo game. It's just an ARPG. You level up, there's skill trees, endless waves of like chaos and undead and whoever, you know, whoever your enemies are. That would be fun. Make it a 8-player co-op. That'd be kind of sick. Could do a CRPG like Baldur's Gate 3 maybe. Yeah, but that would take so much money, time, and effort. It's too much to even hope for if you're inventing stuff out of the blue. Also, Ed Greenwood's Forgotten Realms is insanely well explained and fleshed out and realized compared to Age of Sigmar, which is like look into some soulbound stuff, I guess. Hey, if we're imagining, then sure, yeah. Hire R.A. Salvatore, get him to write a overarching plot, fill in the world a little bit, bring in some soulbound people, sure, let's do it. Find a Major League Baseball guy to fund half of it, let's go. Lemon Coolers, you have 6,000 hours in Path of Exile. You would play the shit out of an AOS ARPG. Yeah, if it was good. My only rule would be, you guys have to make an Age of Sigmar ARPG. But it is banned from being on phones. Banned. You cannot develop it for phones. Because I want it to be like a good game, right? So no gacha, no loot boxes, not on a phone. It's one of those games where they finish the game, and then they're like, hey, do you want game? You're like, yeah, I want game. Okay, give $50, all right? $50? All right, here's game. And then they hand it to you, and that's the game. And then you like it. Kind of like a Baldur's Gate thing, right? My 2 rules right there, the first 2, mean that the game will not be successful. Because you've just said no to like $1 billion. You've chosen to make 100 million instead of $1 billion, or 10 million instead of $1 billion, or whatever. But you were describing a modern fantasy. The AOS Season Pass. Get it with your copy of the GHB. Yeah, scan the back of your GHB with that stupid square phone thing. Now you can play the AOS season of this GHB. Jesus. Ahem. One wants to be the next Kurt Schilling, yeah. Granted, it was Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but didn't they do that with Chaos Bane? It's been a while since you played it. I've never heard of Chaos Bane. Which makes sense, because I wasn't a Warhammer Fantasy player. I dove into tabletop wargaming when GHB 2016 was like half out. A few months after it. It's Warhammer Fantasy Battle Diablo 3. That's the problem. It wouldn't be AOS Diablo 3. If I could help it. Maybe it's good, though. I don't know. Maybe I would have liked Diablo 3 more if it wasn't called Diablo 3. Maybe that was really one of the core problems I had with it. Could do a third-person horde-style game. Yeah, people recommended that as well during that stream. You know, you got Lu Bu, the Stormcast Eternal, just killing waves and waves of guys. You could do it. That's a possibility. Vermintide exists? Yeah. That's a little... Isn't Vermintide a little more Left 4 Dead? Or am I never played Vermintide. Or the Space Marine one where you're killing 1 million Tyranids. It's just endless waves of them. And you play the game for 10 minutes and you've seen basically everything the game will ever do. A little shallow, a little repetitive. Asset reusing. Very Left 4 Dead, yeah. Most stages usually had an objective, but basically, yeah. I'm not too into that type of game. Play with 4 of your boys. We made 5 levels, endlessly reusing the same assets over and over. Waves and waves and waves of the same 3 enemies. Maybe I'm being judgmental. I haven't played all of them. That's what they seem like to the outside, maybe I'll put it that way. The kind of game that leans heavily into that thing that we said doesn't matter, which is it's fun to play with your boys, which is what all games are. About that news. Oh yeah, news stream. Hey, good talk, everyone, by the way. Appreciate it. But we gotta talk about the news, man. There's 2 news. There's 2 newses. I'm gonna get a new DP over here. gonna get a Dr. Pep up. BRB, and we'll talk about the news, shall we?
With Klondike ice cream bars, you get big servings, big taste, big cream.
Imagine
5 big, moist, delicious ounces of big, hot ice cream. And a coating made with beautiful
milk,
chocolate so you can
pour
big cream.
like I've never had it.
Klondike, big bar, big cream.
Cream. Top story tonight. Well, 2 top stories tonight. Here's how battle... enhance? No. All right, this is actually the proper amount of enhancement. Here's how battle packs, battle plans, and the General's Handbook work in new AOS. How's that background music? Chilling at negative 45 dB. I think we're good. Warlords issue tactical commands to their warriors. Wizards cast destructive spells, and priests chant prayers to their deities. All while grand armies clash in the swell of churning melee. The new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar brings epic battles to life, but there's more to the game than rushing your troops to the middle of the battlefield to grind each other down in the glorious death pit. Especially if you don't want to straight lose to the countercharge. You haven't missed anything. News begins now. I am sad that I'm sad that battle tactics are staying, but we'll get to that in a second. Battle packs and battle plans. Too many battles, too many battle words. We just got rid of mortal wounds, now it's mortal damage. I think battle plans, battle packs, battle tactics. I think there's too many battles. Mix it up. Anyway, provide objectives to fight over and a framework for deeper battles. And they're the focus of today's article. Yeah, battle tomes as well. Too much battle. Before playing any game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you'll pick a battle pack. Spearhead, Path to Glory. Wait, hold on. Battle toads? Yeah, true. Ahem. Before playing any game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you'll pick a battle pack. Spearhead? No. Path to Glory? No. Matched play. This will tell you which advanced rules modules you're using and provides a selection of missions known as battle plans, not to be confused with battle packs, and sometimes other modifiers on top of that. The First Blood battle pack is in the core rules for the new edition and uses all the advanced rules modules found therein. First Blood, hold on. Yep, those guys look cool. These guys are hard to buy nowadays. These guys are hard to find. Foulwater Troggoths. First Blood has a choice of 3 battle plans for games that last 4 battle rounds. Oh. This is the one that comes in the core rules though, right? But still, interesting. First Blood battle pack, which contains 3 battle plans for games that last 4 battle rounds. Is this a typo? Or this is just like, it's the thing in the core rules, so we want people to kind of get it over with quickly? I think it's the latter. Because previously they mentioned 5 battle rounds for the actual game. This is like the intro. You'll need to score more victory points than your opponent to win, and the scoring here is simple. At the end of their turn, a player scores 2 points for holding 1 objective, 2 further points for holding 2 or more, another 2 for holding more objectives than their opponent, and 4 if they scored their battle tactic. Ooh, we're doubling the points from battle tactics. Oh no. Okay, well, Warhammer Age of Battle Tactics is still fully alive, to my chagrin. Gross. Maybe that's just for the new player one, because they're trying to introduce new players to Battle Pack. I don't. This is copium. This is absolute copium. I'm sad. Yeah, it used to be, you're just doubling everything, right? Percentage-wise, it's the same. Because it used to be 1, 2 more, and then battle tactic, right? So we got 5. Now it's 1, 2 more, 2, 4, 6, battle tactic 4. It's actually the exact same. It's just 10 points a battle round instead of 5. Maybe they wanted the nice round number. It's just 10 every time. It's 50 for the game. Maybe that's... They're just making the numbers bigger for no reason. Okay. All right, we're good. In the first battle pack, each battle plan comes with a different objective layout and unique twist. A rule that can alter how you score victory points. Provide the underdog. Oh, we're learning the underdog. We're learning. This is what the underdog mechanic is. Player with fewer victory points at the start of the round, okay, with a boon, or both. In Stake the Claim, the twist allows the underdog to choose an objective and prevent it from being controlled for... Oh, that's the same thing that we have on some of them anyway. Okay. Inflation in my war game. You haven't played the game, but you gather this is somewhat bad news. So far, not really. I'm sad that battle tactics are still in the game, because I generally just didn't like them at all. But if they have to still be in the game, maybe it's not all bad news. The next news article talks about them, so we'll get to that when we get to it. So Underdog gets 1 command point and something extra. Are Grand Strats gone? Not sure yet. I think so. Dragon 240. In my opinion, the thing out of the 2 to keep would have been Grand Strats. If you had to choose one to get rid of, I would have gotten rid of tactics and kept grand strategies and then made them good. But, you know, alright. Twist. At the start of the battle round, there's an underdog. You can pick one objective. It's no longer controlled by either player and cannot be controlled this battle round. Oh, it's not gone forever. Okay. On some of the later battle plans, you could, like, explode one of the objectives and just take it off the table like it's gone, right? First Blood's a fantastic framework for your first forays into match play games. Excellent tool for easy and balanced pickup games. But if you're after a knottier tactical challenge or want to start testing your mettle for tournaments, You want to play games with the General's Handbook. The first of which comes in the upcoming launch set. For the first time ever, all your battle plans, battle tactics, and the 24-25 season rules will be included in the launch set. So you'll have everything you need to start playing the game right away. Alright, let's find out what they look like. Match play tournaments use the framework prevented by the General's Handbook, and it's a great way of standardizing events worldwide. Oh, okay. Tightening the leash on what TOs are doing. Interesting. I wonder if they will comply. It also provides extra tactical challenges in the form of season rules, which may alter how you approach building lists or your strategic decisions on the table. Flame Lurk? Ugh, yeah. The first of these books for the new edition of Age of Sigmar's The General's Handbook 24-25 features 12 battle plans plucked from the past 8 years of competitive play and reimagined for the new edition. Cool. 12 is fine. As voted for by the Warhammer Studios, playtesters, and tournament organizers. Big. Okay. A thrilling trip down memory lane for veterans and a guarantee of robust battle plans for new players. Each game in this battle pack. So many battles. I start to say there's so many ways this word could go. I gotta wait. I gotta say this word slowly. Because battle pack could be battle plan. It could be a lot of things. Battle scroll, battle tome. And each battle plan explains the scoring rules and any twists that might be involved. Border War, a firm favorite for 2016. Is back and gives us a glimpse into how scoring works in the new General's Handbook. Okay. Battle War. Battle Plan 1. Battle War. Two armies approach the same battlefield determined to capture the vital ground that separates their territories and, if possible, strike deep into enemy territory. Okay. It's the square. This one's worth more. This one's worth more. These are worth the same. Yours is worth 1, the other person's is worth 4 is how it used to work. Maybe it's 1 and 3. We'll see. Victory points scored by each player from controlling objectives are capped at a maximum 6 per turn. Interesting, okay. That's kind of what they were doing already. They're just saying it's capped now. They're using different language. But before it was 1-2 more. And before that it was you can get as many points as you can get. Like the second edition way. I don't know if I like capping it, but it was already capped, kind of, in third edition anyway. So we're just continuing that. Yeah, you vote for battle territory instead of deployment? Yeah. We need more battle words. Does knowing the cardinal direction ever matter? They have north on this map. Yes. And the reason is when you open up, if you have like a printout of this, or if you open up the spiral binder and you just throw it on the table, it's possible that you could set up the table sideways. Just because it's a thing and you're just looking at it on a phone and swiveled and zoomed in or something. I think it's possible you could set up the table sideways, maybe. So you put this thing to help people out. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of as far as really playing the game in real life in the sort of goofy way sometimes people do, I guess. If they find it difficult to look at a 4x3. I think people have probably done it in the past. It's probably happened. Anyway. Add 1 hit rolls for units in the underdog's army if they charge this turn and are contesting the objective wholly within enemy territory. Hey, we got buffs. Nice. Free buffs if you're the underdog. Cool. And did some other stuff. Bad Moon is about to go east to west. Each player scores victory points. 1 if you control wholly within friendly, 2 on the border, and 5 wholly within enemy territory. And then 4 if you complete the battle tactic. So it's actually pretty easy to get above 6 on this. Right? If you got your opponents, if you have this one and this one, you're already over the cap, the 7. Okay. 6 cap is weird. Alright. I like Border War anyway. And the incarnations that we eventually got. The whole one in the middle and do a BT. The BTs are separate. Hold on. Enhance. Enhance. 50 points scored by each player from, quote, controlling objectives, end quote, are capped at 6. So the 4 you get from battle tactic is separate from that. You can get a total of 10 between both each turn. Yeah, it's not 6 points total, it's from objectives. I almost misread it the first time as well. A little weird. I don't know that I like the capping. I kind of didn't necessarily like the capping in 3rd. But I guess it's fine. Doesn't ruin anything. And it's neat that hey, look, if you're an underdog, you have +1 to hit. Kick that guy off your objective or whatever. That's kind of neat. Some of them have you removing them entirely, at least for a turn. Some of them give you a buff. Not bad. You like standardized 50 per game? It's going to help make the game a lot cleaner competitively. Instead of 25. I guess. Every time I'm reminded of the stupid way that points are scored and tallied between rounds in tournaments and somehow matter even though they shouldn't, I'm slightly miffed. But I mean, it's 25 instead of 50. I don't know. Can anyone give me a response? I know you can clear stubs and lines in like 30 minutes on a model, but I really like to spend about 3 or 4 hours on them to make it look impossible to notice. Is that way too much to be spending, or is it about average? You're a new player, by the way. 3 or 4 hours on how many models, I guess. If it's on one model, that's probably too long. You know, hobbying is meant to be this thing that you do after work, and you're just chilling. You know, you're accomplishing something with your hands. It's creative. It has a definite start and finish. You know, so just like if you're happy with the pace at which you are doing it, then I don't see a problem. You don't need to rush if you don't want to. If I was doing a Stormcast model about this big, if we're just talking getting rid of mold lines and stuff with a little, you know, hobby knife, pull it towards you, I'm thinking like probably 1 minute. Maybe 1 minute. But that's like a GW plastic product. If you're 3D printing it and it's got all those 3D printer ass gross sideways lines, I don't know how long it takes to clean up a model from 3D printing. Maybe it is a long time, I'm not sure. Twitch Prime. Anyway, Zombie Monkey, thanks for the Prime Gaming sub. Appreciate it. Probably takes you, like, for new steel helms, like 10 or 15 minutes for each one. There's no sideways shit nowadays in 3D printing. Oh, okay. My 3D printing knowledge is old, so... Anyway, yeah, it's a super... That's a crazy long amount of time. But also, I don't know, are you needed in surgery? Do you got a place to be? If it's just some shit you're kind of like lean back in your chair, chilling, you're watching a stream, you're watching a movie or whatever. I don't know. Go at whatever pace you feel like. It's not a race. Anyway, the underdog earns a little more bite when they attempt to contest the enemy's home objective. Oh wait, is it home objective only? Contesting the objective wholly within enemy territory. Oh, okay, so only that one. Okay. Okay. Underdog thing matters a whole lot less now. It's still cool, but it matters a lot less. I guess they don't want the underdog to have too big of an advantage, I suppose. If you're going to spend hours painting, you might as well make your canvas clean. True. And, like, that's a long time, but you know what's a longer amount of time than that? The rest of your entire life, which is how long you will be looking at a giant mold line you were too lazy to get rid of and you painted your model over. And you'll see that. You will specifically notice that giant line on this thing you painted forever. So, yeah, it's a long time, but it could be worse. Device from 2011, 2021, I mean, shows a variation on how scoring reaches that fixed 10 per round as its objectives converge on the century thanks to the twist, which also gives the underdog a chance to ship, hey look, it's the art of the Icebrow Hunter, boys, we're in. We're in. Confirmed Beastclaw Raiders, staying the entire edition, guaranteed. Our art is in the core rules. Marked safe. Enhance. The Vice. Kind of a appropriate name for a Games Workshop battle plan. At the start of the second battle round, after determining which player is the active player, the active player must remove the 4 starting objectives and set up a new objective at each of the next locations on the map. Alright. At the start of the 4th battle round, so 2 and 4. Right? 2 and 4. Remove all and there's only 1 remains. This takes forever and is annoying. Because there's going to be models there. Right? My suggestion to you in real life, when you play the Vice, you might not have this many objectives. I would put the 9 of them down and just remember which ones are activated so that you don't have to like scoot it underneath models or terrain halfway through the game twice, and just remove the outer ones as you go when nothing is under them. Pardon me. At the end of their turn, the underdog can pick 1 objective. Inflict D3 mortal damage on each unit contesting that objective. Nice. Including when only 1 of them is left. Nice. This is fun. It's annoying to do, but it's a fun battle plan. For me. Score 2 victory points if you control at least 1 objective. Score 2 if you control 2. 2 if you have more. 2, 4, 6. In battle rounds 4 and 5 only. Score 2 victory points if there are no enemy units within 6 of the remaining objective. Okay. And then 4 if you got the thing. Objectives might be impassable chips now, so it might be a bit easier. Well, I was about to say they couldn't be impassable because you have to stand on them, but maybe it's worded in such a way that it's 3 inches around that chip, so maybe they might be impassable. And they're smaller, so it's a lot easier to place them on places. They're what? 3 plus a base size now, and they used to be 6. So maybe it's a lot more doable nowadays. I like the terrain map too. That's a fun addition. This map layout can also be used for border war, focal points, shifting objectives, the Jaws of Galette, and Battle for the Pass. Nice. Area terrain examples: hills, storm vault, ruins, debris, statues, barricades, wildwood, fortress wall, realm gate, cleansing, aqua leith, nexus siphon. Cool. That's fun. We're using the same map layout for a bunch of different stuff. Good. By the way, you definitely left the low-hanging fruit of Persona-style RPG dating sim where you play a Skaven who moves into New Undercity and has to make friends. Your working title is Gracie Orona. Yeah. It's a canceled Blizzard game, you know, along the lines of Full Throttle. Except with a big rat. A rat ogre with a stogie. Unenhance. There are still rules for player place terrain, as with the current edition, but each battle plan comes with suggested layout. Big. Big if true. I like it. I like this. This is good. If I was a TO, maybe I would hate it. Because now I have to put more terrain on the table, and I have to do it in this way. But I don't know, maybe I wouldn't hate it. Any TOs, how do you feel about this? From the player side of this, suggested terrain placement is actually quite cool and nice. And they probably thought about it. I notice here that it's symmetrical. That's fair, right? Symmetrical in a few different directions. It always required 8, and there's 8 listed. Yeah, it always, I guess people ignored that, so they can ignore this as they wish as well. The 40k TOs got this, and they seem to like it. You like it, you always hate setting up terrain. Yeah, I liked, and it defeats one of the... I don't know if it was a problem. I don't think it was really a problem. But a perceived problem, maybe. Of, you know... person gets to the table first and kind of pushes things how they like it for their army. You know, another person shows up and they just start playing. A little gamesmanship, you know. They got that Bobby Briccolini and they're putting the biggest terrain feature right in the middle. Hoping nobody notices. Anyway, I think this is mostly good. The season rules add extra nuance and theming to your games for the 24-25 season, which kicks off with the release of the new edition. The defining rule is On Our Guard. This rule lets you pick from one of 3 powerful abilities to give to a single honor guard unit in your general's regiment. Damn, I hope Beastclaw Raiders get to use these regiments, these things. Because I'm not gonna... Historically, as far as seasonal rules go, Beastclaw Raiders and my boys, Sons of Behemoth, typically didn't get to do shit with them. Hoping they matter. Or we get to take advantage of them somehow. Since these abilities are chosen during the deployment phase, you can use them to adapt to your opponent's roster. Huge. I want them to zoom to do more. More. Do this more. I think you should be able to choose your spells and prayers and all that stuff. General artifacts, command traits, stuff like that. I think you should be able to choose all that during deployment. Which is like jury rigging up the game with somewhat of a sideboard kind of deal. To soften the blow of rock, paper, scissors in this one game a match style game. Anyway, good start. I hope they lean into it more in the future. Yeah, that's essentially my answer to sideboarding. Instead of bringing an extra 600 points of stuff to the tournament, or requiring you to buy an extra 500 points of stuff or whatever, just let you choose all your rules stuff that doesn't matter, whatever you have written down anyway. It doesn't affect points at all. Let you choose that on deployment, I think. That's like my thing I would change. 40k used to have that choice, and it was such a pain because it took forever. It took forever in 40k because their shit costs points, as far as I know. Maybe it's different now. But in AOS, it's all free. And so you don't have to do any math. It's just like, oh, here's my 6 artifacts. I take this one. Here's my 6, or even 3 command traits. I choose this one. So, yeah, there would be no math. It's just this. Anyhow, honor guard. Once per battle, deployment phase. Declare. Pick a friendly unit in your general's regiment that is not your general to be the honor guard. You can pick a unit in reserve. Cool. If you use this ability, you cannot use any other honor guard abilities. Effect. Subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of enemy unit melee weapons while they are in combat with your general if both of the following are true. -1, attacks characteristic, enemy unit, melee weapons, in combat with your general. If the honor guard is wholly within 6, okay, that's pretty close. Wholly within 6. And the honor guard did not charge. Okay. And it's once per battle because technically you use it in deployment, and then this effect just lasts for the rest of the game, right? I'm understanding this correctly. Like, you're not declaring this in the combat. It's like, deployment, I do this, and then I just remember this rule for the whole game. Did not charge. HeyWoah's hope and optimism gone. It's fine. This is but one of the possible abilities. No big deal. Activate it and just let it go, yeah. Is this good? It depends on how easy it is for the honor guard to be wholly within 6 of your general. I guess you just like move it around like this in one glob. -1 from the attack characteristic of enemy unit melee weapons when they're in combat with your general. That's a decent debuff. That is a meaningful debuff. Usually the thing that you're trying to kill a general with has a bunch of different weapon profiles, and so essentially giving that unit -3 or 4 attacks is considerable. Now it only works if they didn't charge. That's fine. That's kind of when you want it the most, almost, is when you get got, right? And then honor guard wholly within 6. That's the only thing. You can't use too big of a unit or too big of a squad or something, and they got to stick by him, which is, they're the honor guard. Of course you're going to have to stick by him. You can make something 0 attacks. As written here, yes. By the time we see all the rules, definitely not. I'm sure what they've done is written some core rule that says the lowest you can get to is 1. But yes, as written here, if you got 1 attack, 30 guys with a 1 attack, 0 attacks. I'm sure they have some band-aid on that one, but it's funny to read it out of context. Anyway, this is cool. Cool. And then even still in like Sons of Behemoth, okay, maybe in Sons of Behemoth it's kind of hard, but you could still technically do it. Is like Frost Lord, 4 Mournfang. Those Mournfang would count as your honor guard. You could do that. Now they're slower than the Frost Lord, and you know it's annoying to keep them next to each other, and you wouldn't want to do that, but you can technically do it at least. You know, King Broad and some Man Crushers or something. You could technically do that. And some of the previous ones, you couldn't even technically do it. Like, you just don't have a foot hero, right? So, we've improved up to technically can do it. That's good. In Sons, you can make a Man Crusher the bodyguard, yep. Or even a mob of 3. KO are gonna love making their boats an honor guard. I think you can do that, right? It seems like you can. The general's an admiral, and then the ship is the honor guard. Let's go. You get to paint the ship up, call it, the HMS honor guard or something like that. Wait, no, you wouldn't want to do that because this is a seasonal rule. It'll go away eventually. But that is kind of cool. I think it's sweet. Grandis with bodyguards, having Grots for lunch. Make Gotrek a bodyguard. Yeah, as long as it's not a general, right? Pick a friendly unit in your general's regiment that is not your general. But it could be a hero. So if they're somehow, I bet that Gotrek is going to be always auxiliary. But I bet you could have, here's, Bastion Carthalos and his honor guard, the Celestin Prime or something. Like, that could be kind of, little double dragon action. That's kind of cool. Make Crazy a bodyguard for Krondis. Now you're thinking with portals. Yeah. Anyway, kind of cool. The defensive choice is bodyguard. Yeah, so this is the defensive choice. I think they said there were 3, right? Yeah, one of 3 powerful abilities. So the first one is bodyguard. Conceivably, the other one, we have an offensive one, a defensive one, and maybe a good one. And the good one is movement. Or utility or something. The defensive choice is bodyguard, an ability that turns your honor guard into a human, Duarden, Daemon, Verminous, etc. shield for your general, reducing the efficacy of their assailants when they're caught up in the brawl of melee. General's Handbook 2425, found in the impending launch box, comes in a card format featuring season rules, battle tactics, battle plans, scoring cards in a handy format. Standalone release version will contain all of this, alongside the core rules, advanced rules, and latest rules for endless spells, and the tournament organizer pack providing guidance, guidance, if you will, for event organizers. Next, we'll be taking a look at some of the battle tactics. Yeah, we'll read that in a second. Hold up. The standalone release version will contain all of this, alongside core rules, advanced rules, which is the modular thing they were talking about, the latest rules for endless spells, and a tournament organizer pack providing guidance for event organizers. Oh, tightening the leash, huh? Interesting. Cool. T. Sterling Little, thanks for the becoming a HeyWoah enjoyer. Appreciate it. Seems kind of weak compared to 40k. Keyword leaders merge into the unit and can only be targeted by characters with precision. I think we have stuff like that. Although less so. Read the asterisks. Hold up. I will. That is also fun, but the Warhammer studio assures us there's more to life. Warhammer Age of Sigmar's equivalent to secondary objectives. We'll have a whole article, yeah. And that the grand strategies are not part of this matched play season. All right, grand strategies. See you in hell. However, you weren't as bad as Battle Tactics, unfortunately, but we flushed the toilet and jiggled the handle. Get out of here. They are leaving themselves the opportunity to add it later if they want, though. Right? They can add those later, according to that specific text. Utility will either be busted wide open or we'll just take the other two. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it always works, right? First time catching you live, you've gotten me back into the hobby after years. Hyped to be catching bad news. It's a bit of a click, right? I don't like Battle Tactics, but still, everything I've heard has been good for 4th edition, so it's not a big deal. As an EO, that's got to be event organizer. You can almost guarantee that you will be ignoring most of the organizer pack, for sure. Especially if it's dumb. Age of Sigmar has a time-honored history of totally ignoring the really stupid suggestions that they often try to give. And rightly so, as long as everybody's on board with it. It'd be a pain if we splintered off into a bunch of different warring factions, all with their own house rules. That's a bad end, like the bad future. But in general, most people in the TO scene seem to be able to agree when it's like, hey, Games Workshop has a ruling where you put your model in halfway off the table, and that's how you do it. And everyone's just like, no, I don't think we will. Anyway, Battle Tactics are the key to winning in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Yeah, that's what I don't like about them. Here's how they work in new AOS. Alright, we finally get to the bad news. I was hoping Battle Tactics would be jettisoned into the sun, flushed down the toilet, lit on fire, whatever, to get them out entirely. Like Battle Shock and Bravery. Just gone. Straight better game. Unfortunately, they must stay. I'm sad. But how will they stay? So far, I've liked most of the changes in 4th Ed, so we will see. Fighting over objectives is a large part of winning battles in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but pursuing battle tactics is key to victory. Battle tactics are secondary objectives for 40k, for what you saw. Yeah, I think historically speaking, battle tactics have always been like secondary objectives in 40k, I think. Again, not a 40k player, but it's the same concept. Whether you're playing with the First Blood, Match Play, or Generous Handbook Battle Pack, you'll be using battle tactics. So let's get to grips with them. It's sort of like, yes, we know you hate them. We know everyone hates them. Fucking deal with it. You know, I will deal with it, actually. I'm just going to grumble about it. But I'll just deal with it, yeah. If you're new to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, battle tactics are secondary objectives you'll want to complete each turn, whilst also trying to secure objectives and slay your opponent's warriors. Yep. At the start of your turn, you can pick one battle tactic using the Tactical Gambit ability. Upon completing that... Oh, I guess... Man, they said everything was an ability in 4th edition. That's true. Even battle tactics are abilities. Hey, they said it. That's what it is. Upon completing that battle tactic, you'll be rewarded 4 valuable victory points to supplement the 6 you can score each round from that game's battle plan. Okay? Once per battle turn, or battle round, start of your turn. Tactical Gambit. Throw in playing cards to blow up. You cannot use this ability if you went second in the previous battle round and chose to go first in the current battle round. Once again, they're using the choose language, which means you can't give your opponent a double to stop them from scoring, which was a concern early on, because I'm like, damn, this makes a double turn so bad that if you take one, you lose the game. And so now I don't want the meta to become I won priority and give my opponent a double so they lose. But they thought of that. They thought of that one already. You can't give it away. It's only if you choose it, right? Pick one battle tactic that you have not yet attempted. You can attempt to complete that battle tactic this turn. Alright, fair enough. Is this a deck of cards of battle tactics? Do you know of the deck of cards of objectives in 40k? I've had it explained to me, and I've tried to pay attention to it, but I failed. It's something like you can choose 2, or you can get 3, but they're random, and so it's kind of an either or. They use a deck of cards. I don't know if we're doing that for AOS or not, but I've heard something about it. Essentially, it's not 5. It's not 1 every battle round. I don't think. It's like a few of them. Or maybe it's you get 2 points if you choose it, and you get 3 points if it's random or something. It's something like, if you choose the random one, you get rewarded, right? Because it's, you know... you can only pick a battle tactic you haven't yet attempted. And a crucial change in the new edition is that you can't pick a battle tactic if you win the priority roll and choose to take a second consecutive turn. Yeah. Which means... I mean, man, if battle tactics are worth 4 points... Does this largely kill anyone ever taking a double turn? Let's use hyperbolic language, I guess. At what point did people currently take double turns competitively? If they think that would instantly win them the game, usually you give it away. Like you just want to go second each battle round. It's like the position you like to get into in general. And so mostly you do you go, I go, unless it's going to be the trapdoor that shuts the game. I think this just reinforces that for the most part. The only other time you take a double turn is if you're losing so hard that you're just like, well, I guess I have to take it because I'm losing real bad. So this is my only shot. Does this rule actually kill that, I wonder? Like the Hail Mary double turn? Like, well, I'm losing real bad, so I have to take a double, and then you can't even score max points on that turn, so you're just like extra dead and not even a double can save you. I don't know. Obviously I'm using hyperbole here a lot, but I'm just thinking about it. Maybe it's something you go for early and it just reinforces the type of army that flips a coin to try to cripple them early. And then hopefully have essentially tabled them by the bottom of 3 or something, and then that's your big strat. I guess it stops a points double if you're losing. There's still the copium hopium damage double if you're losing, right? It's also a decent defensive option if you have no good tactic. No good tactic. I kind of feel like if you don't have a good tactic to do, you built your army wrong. And I don't want to say that because it hurts me to say that. Because I don't want that to be the game. But it kind of is. I don't know. We'll see. Importantly, however, if your opponent wins priority roll and decides to let you take 2 turns in a row, you can't. You can still pick one, yeah. Each battle plan in the core rules and the new General's Handbook allows you to score a maximum of 10 victory points each round, so winning the priority roll and taking 2 turns in a row means forfeiting your ability to score 4 of those 10 points. And it previously was 5, basically, and 2. So the numbers doubled, but nothing really changed. That's a sizable opportunity cost and one you'll need to consider carefully before choosing not to do it ever. Double turn can have a major impact on the game. Choosing to forfeit a battle tactic might let you consolidate your control of the board or use your momentum to surge forth and severely damage your opponent's army. Though new command abilities like countercharge give your opponent more tools than ever to stall your momentum. Yeah, it's just like, yeah. You take the double to like get lucky and just cry, like they have nothing left alive. Otherwise, probably not. It's probably not worth. On the other hand, if you misjudge and can't fully capitalize on your double turn, you could find yourself quickly falling behind in victory points. This is like most of the time. Battle tactic module contains 6 universal battle tactics. Oh, here we go. Here we get to the amount of them. The battle tactics module contains 6 universal battle tactics, which are used in both the First Blood and the General's Handbook. Okay, so we got 6 universal ones. To carve out a path to victory, you'll need to carefully consider each battle tactic you'll declare each turn. Yep, it grinds the game to a halt every time somebody has to pick one. Are you safe to pick Seize the Center near the start of the game if you think you can guarantee stake and claim with no reprisal? Or do you risk being undone by an opponent using the covering fire or countercharge commands? Yeah. So, universal battle tactics. Seize the Sentry. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if 2 or more friendly units are within 3 of the center of the battlefield and are not in combat. So this is the please countercharge me off the table, these units are dead. Like, you choose 2 units that are fast, put them in the center of the table, perfectly like you're handing them to your opponent to just kill them, right? And now you get to countercharge them, and then everybody fights in the middle, right? Okay. So this one, it's good to have things that are fast, right? And not in combat. Take the flanks. You complete this battle tactic in your turn. I was hoping this wouldn't be a thing. I hate this. I hate this one. Oh, and I hate the fact that I always have to take it, because I don't have any better ones. Fucking within 6 inches of each short battlefield edge, none of those units are wholly within friendly territory, and none of those units are set up. I hate doing this. I'm mad. Okay. Yeah. Do the worst deployment you've ever fucking seen for 4 points. Sure. Okay. At least it's not 3. At least you don't have to backboard something. It's only 2, right? And then slay the entourage. Pick a unit in the enemy general's regiment. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed. Hey, you'll kill one. Alright, this one should be alright. Alright, fair enough. So here we have 3. Kill something from general's regiment. Do the stupid deployment. Not as stupid as now, but still annoying. Or offer up on a silver platter something that is okay to die. Sorry. 2 things that are meant to die. Flanks is the most free so far, yeah. I don't like doing it, and it makes for an awkward-ass deployment, but it's the freest one. I mean, the units don't die, right? Like these would. Wouldn't you get tank to flanks if you had a very fast couple of units? You could also do it that way as well. Yeah, you could. Take the flanks may require some forward thinking. Yeah, it's deploying. Slay the entourage means killing the thing. Even if a battle tactic appears to be easy to score in the current round, the decision to attempt it is important, especially if it's competing with other ones. Yeah, it's opportunity cost. Yep. Ahem. Also includes 2 extra battle tactics for each Grand Alliance. 2 extra battle tactics for each Grand Alliance, alongside the Honor Guard season rule. These provide some extra flexibility outside the universal battle tactics and replace faction-specific. Ooh, okay.
We're safe on live.
Good. faction-specific battle tactics were the worst part of the whole umbrella of battle tactics. So, good. A pox on their name. Get them out. Out. Get them out. I don't necessarily like Grand Alliance ones either, for a similar reason. Well, it looks like you get 2 per. So, what is it? There are 6 Universal and 2 Grand Alliance. So you have 8. You have 8 battle tactics to build your army around, guaranteeing 5 of. Generally, no matter what. And then you split up the entire game into turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and decide how every single game of Age of Sigmar will be the same for you. Sad. But better than it used to be. Let's see. Now, before I read these, every Grand Alliance gets 2 of them. So this is only 1 of them, right? Who do you think... Oh, damn. Everybody from chat's already read this, so I can't do it. I was going to say, who do you think gets the free one, right? Which entire Grand Alliance gets to start with 4 victory points for free? And which Grand Alliance... Ooh, mine's hard, right? I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a prediction here. I'm not sure. Order. Reclaim the realm. At least they're flavorful. That's nice. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are 1 or more friendly units wholly within each quarter of the battlefield and more than 6 inches from all enemy units. That's hard. It's the end of your turn, so it's... You could... the whole be in combat thing, maybe that's not. Depending on your arm... That's the problem with this. Depending on your army, this is really easy or kind of tricky. Right? Marked for the grave. Death. Pick a non-hero enemy unit that has not had any models slain. If there are no non-hero enemy units on the battlefield, you can pick any enemy unit. What a nice... Before I even talk about the rest of this thing, they were thinking, if there are no non-hero enemy units on the battlefield, you can pick any enemy unit. How hard was that? What a good solution. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if that unit is destroyed. Okay, death free. Pick something and kill it. It's free. So far, death is the freest free that ever freed. What about chaos? Pick an objective controlled by your opponent. You complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if 2 or more friendly units charged and 1 or more of those units are contesting it. Kind of free. You have to charge 2 things, which is a little... that's a little harder. That's a little harder, but it's essentially steal an objective, and you were going to steal an objective, right? That's how you play the game. You just trade back and forth objectives. You do have to control that objective, but that's what you're going to do anyway. If you weren't doing that, you weren't winning the turn anyway, right? Yeah, 2 or more, that's a rough one. Death so far, unless I'm misreading it, death, friggity free. Reclaim the realms, maybe early, depending on your army. More than 6 inches from all enemy units, that becomes kind of tough later on, and spreading all out, that one's weird. Chaos. Time to get stuck in. Pick 3 friendly units that are not in combat and are wholly within friendly territory. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if each of those units wholly outside your territory and used to fight. 3 friendly units, and they all have to be wholly within your territory at the start, and then they have to be what? Wholly outside and fought? Jesus. That's rough. If your opponent doesn't hand you this one on purpose early, you might have to do some, like, turn 4, I retreat back into my territory so that turn 5 I can start in my territory and get out of it with all 3 entire units. I don't have more than 3 friendly units left alive usually at the bottom of turn 3. Yeah, that's weird. That's fucked up. Alright. We can... Each Grand Alliance gets 2, remember. And you have a total of 8 that you have to choose 5 from. So you can get some clunkers. So far, death. Absolutely free. Sometimes freedom is free. First place, S tier, easy. Just kill something. Holy shit, easy. Second place, maybe a tie between Reclaim and Ordained. Because Ordained is 2 or more friendly units, it's not just 1, and you have to control that objective. That makes Ordained a little harder. You have to essentially one-shot it, and yeah, cool. And then Reclaim the Realms, it's... I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, things can happen that you can do to screw it up. Redeploy into it. All 4 board zones, kind of tricky. Time to get stuck in. Randomly impossible. Sometimes easy enough, right? Early game, if you can have 3 entire charges from your territory outside, but damn, I don't know about that. Really rough one. Really rough. Time to get stuck in sounds so hard for Cruel Boys. Free for Beast Claw. It's not even free for Beast Claw, necessarily. Pick 3 friendly units that are not in combat. That's 1,500 points. On what turn of the game are 3 of our 1,500 of my points going to be wholly within my territory? And each have makeable charges exactly wholly outside of my territory, and then I make all of them. Yeah, sometimes, right? Sometimes. You got to do this early, and your opponents have to, like, sprint across the table to, like, allow you to do that. Anyway. It's definitely easier for me to do it than for Cruel Boys, right? So, anyway. Oof. Yeah, it's the 3 or more that makes it tricky for Beast Claw. It has to be the overwhelming majority of my whole army starts wholly within my territory and ends wholly outside of my territory. And those charges have to exist. Is every map split cleanly into 50-50 enemy territory? We don't know. Anyway, I was scrolling up to find the battle plan. We don't know. If there are any that aren't and have the smaller deployment zones, then this one's, like, impossible. I hope not. Like, if we get those battle plans where they have the little deployment zones, this shit's, like, impossible. Just never gonna happen. We'll see. And this is kind of a reason why faction-specific battle tactics were cooked. Because here they had to make 4, and they're kind of loppy. Why was it not just charged with 3 units? It could be successfully charged with 3 units. I don't know. Maybe that's too easy. The problem with battle tactics are... Okay, there's a bunch of problems, but one of them is... if they're automatic, then why have them? If everyone just gets them every time, no matter what. Mechanically. You kind of want them to be hard enough so that they don't always work, you know? that people can drop them, but players want guaranteed ones, 100% automatic, right? Because they don't want to drop any. And so you're kind of at odds a little bit with what players want, you know. Three's a lot of units. Maybe there's some counterplay against death having to choose that unit at the start. I mean, you could redeploy, you can... There's a little bit of stuff, you know. I'm thinking about now, okay. If everybody has to pick between the same, essentially, 8 of them, what can you do to stop people? There's a little bit of counterplay now. It used to be just the Wild West. There was a million ones they could choose and who the fuck knows. But now it's like, well, maybe it's worth me going to the center. Just so that's a battle tactic my opponent cannot do next turn, right? Pick a unit in the General's Regiment. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed this turn. Maybe on some random turn your opponent has done these two. And you could think ahead. Hey, you know what? General's Regiment, it's chilling. Way back here. I don't know. I wonder if the battle tactics will become second nature enough to players that they'll be able to start counterplaying a little bit with them. Even though it's from one turn to another. To say nothing of the reactions you can do on somebody else's turn, right? Age of Redeploy and Countercharge? Probably. Hey, Redeploy is still a D6. Alright, I'm going to spend a command point. Let's see this one. Yep, it's the one. You got me. Fuck. I don't know. There might be a lot of that going on in future. Encourage you to be counterplayed. Yeah, in list building as well. Because there's Slay the Entourage. What if your general's retinue is just only humongous crowds, just only Blight Kings or something? Oh, I'm going to put the beefiest units in there so they're the hardest to kill. We don't yet quite know how deadly AOS still is. Historically, pretty deadly. But we haven't seen every war scroll in the game and all sorts of stuff, yeah. Since all battle tactics are now part of the annual general... Wait, all battle tactics. Oh, pardon me. I thought the universal ones were in the core rules. I'm wrong. The General's Handbook has the universal ones. Does this mean that there are no battle tactics in the core rules? They're only in GHB? Am I reading this right? Since all battle tactics are now part of the annual General's Handbook, Warhammer Studio will have more opportunities to balance battle tactics and ensure play. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I will take this sentence at face value. They've done stuff like this before. Matt Rose and his team were generally like doing stuff, looking at data, tweaking stuff, and changing stuff that didn't work. Interesting that all battle tactics are GHB. Cool. This means that they can get improved in the future or changed, or this one didn't work out, or we found this one was a little too easy, so we changed it in this way. Okay. Yeah, we're not stuck with stinkers, essentially. Next week, we'll be pulling back the curtain on Spearhead, the fast and furious new game mode for Age of Sigmar, and learning more about the changes to endless spells, invocations, and faction terrain in the new edition. Perhaps there will even be a shiny new miniature. Have to wait and see. Okay, so next week we're talking about Spearhead and 1K games. So I'm going to have to come up with some content to do. Because I don't give a shit about 1K games. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm 50% kidding. It's interesting to me whether or not they get 1K into a good place. It would be good for the game if they did. So I'm still going to like read it and talk about it and be interested in it. But tier list stream. Next time, probably. Hold on, I gotta blow my nose. Nose blowing intensifies. BRB. Or are we back? Ugh. I didn't want to pull a Pippa, you know? Get one of those say jams out. Alright, marked safe. If Matt Rose can get HeyWoah to play 1K, he might be the Messiah. Lisa Al-Gaib. Yeah, true. Looks like a great opportunity to dabble in factions you don't want to commit to. And that's their intent, yeah. I don't say that from like a company bad perspective. It's just like, yeah, that's the goal. What they want to do is make it easier for people to get into their game. And that's like good, right? Ahem. You have a concern. GW is a big company. And they start printing new stuff way ahead of the release date. How are they going to capture all... What the fuck music is this? Next. Alright, anyway. Pardon me. Apologies for the interruption. GW is a big company, and they start printing new stuff way ahead of the release date. So are they going to capture all data and give it to print on time if they have 1 year and next year to release a new GHB? Probably gonna use the patches for that, you know? Like they do those bounce patches now. That's probably what they're gonna be doing. They have in general big plans. They can change it up until the print date. And then after that, it's like, we'll do that in one of those patches. No, that wasn't Metal Slug, although it's a fantastic game series. That's easy. The printed book will be out of date upon release. Yeah, that's why printed books for stuff like this, instead of digital rules, is simply a dinosaur, a thing of the past. A thing that makes your game worse and sluggish and slower and worse for the player. But Games Workshop's business model is selling books, and so they're going to keep selling books. We should be thankful they do anything digital at all, I guess. Yeah, Google's trying to set the mood for Lisa Al-Gaib, yeah. You mean it's gonna work? You're already curious about starting a 1K Ard Boys collection? Dude, like, as I said, it's just really good for the game if 1K is good. $50 plus tax, please, or Wahapedia.com like most of the players, because that's a crazy cost. No thanks. You'd rather read big book pages than a tiny iPhone screen? Same. But I don't want to carry that book around. I'll carry the phone around. Does current 40 kilometers have to pay for app usage? Unknown. Don't know. Just get a tablet. GG easy, no re. Yeah, no rematch. Anyway, that's it. That was somewhat painless, you know. I did a stream title, and I'm all like, this is bad news. Battle tactics are sadly still in the game, but they got rid of faction battle tactics, which were the shittiest ones. And they got rid of grand strats, which were dumb as well. But I think grand strats could have been the chosen ones. You could have done a cool thing with grand strats. Pick 2, and you have to complete them by the end of the game, and then rewrite them so that they're good. That would have been the cool future. Unfortunately, we had to keep battle tactics Sag. And they're okay. All right. Anyway, that's that. Kind of painless. This is truly, I guess the stream title works out. It's the first legitimately bad news that I've heard so far about 4th edition. Which is pretty much a good thing. Keeping it positive. I've only heard great things about all of 4th edition. Kind of excited for it. Definitely can't wait to see all the indexes and stuff. Very much look forward to 4th ed. Even if they're keeping the thing I like least in the game, which is battle tactics. They got rid of the worst type of them. Good. And grand strats are gone. Alright. Definitely, it could have been way worse. Yeah, if this is as bad as it gets, chill, right? It's been like 6 years, and they still haven't relaxed about Primaris Marines. Are those the ones that look like they're from Call of Duty? I always thought those guys looked weird. Looked like they were from a video game. Too humanoid for me. But then again, I'm not a 40k player, so I don't know which way from up on those. Yeah, a win is a win. And before female Stormcast drama, well, there would be no drama because Stormcast have been mixed units in the lore since the very beginning, and in the models since what, second wave, I think. And there've been heroes and yeah, it's not like a lore thing. I'm sure there's got to be someone on planet Earth who is mad about female Space Marines from a I hate women point of view, but in general, I think they're just really stuck up about the lore. Or something. I mean, Stormcast are cool. There would be no drama because grown men play AOS. Damn. Got him. I'm trying to grill up here. I'm trying to flip burgers on the grill. You had someone get fussy with you in your local community. You had to gently explain to him that a female Stormcast has been the poster model for the last 2 editions. Yeah, she's on the cover. And it's good art, too. I don't know. Shit's sick. Oh, speaking of, she's on the cover. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Cuties of Sigmar? Yeah. Andrasta, my beloved. Alright, chat, it's time. One final bit of shameless slop content before we pack it up for this evening. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks for the subs and the bits and the primes. We got through it. This one hurt. We had to get our shot. But I guess the lollipop we get at the end is all the other good stuff happening with 4th Ed. And now, would you rather stay outside all your life or stay inside all your life? Easy. Stay inside all your life. I've already chosen to do this. I'm a hermit. Imagine. Like, so fucking easy. Am I right?